Hello, and welcome to my oh so professional live. Where just moments ago, I was doing my makeup in our only bathroom, and Arlen walked in with Ocean, who were potty training, and walked in with a full pant load of poop. So I'm hoping that my mom audience is appreciating me getting ready for my live, doing my flawless in 5. As I'm stripping Ocean's pants down, and we're doing like full on triage with this and that and the ozone and the pooping and the whole thing. And then we get a notification on Twitter because we were smelling smoke because the door was open. He left the door open when he was bringing Ocean in. We were smelling smoke, and we definitely know what that smells like living in California. So Arlen gets a notification on Twitter that just down the road, I don't know why I'm laughing, it's like not even funny. But just down the road, there's a grass fire that has been lit, and now we're hearing helicopters circling because the entire hillside, we can't see it, but we can smell it, is all up in flames. So I thought it'd be a good time to just hop on here and do a live. Not really, but I had planned it, and I want to talk to you guys about some things. Hi, everybody. Hi. I love having the comments on because then I can actually see who's on here and say hi to everybody. Today's live, I'm actually not going to be doing by myself. I am going to be doing it with one of my best friends since I moved to LA. Her name's Ashley Conrad, and she has completely changed my life. So what I want to talk about is being an influencer. I want to talk about the business side of it. I want to talk about social media. I want to talk about trust. I want to talk about health. I want to talk about where to start because I get asked that question. Ashley gets asked that question as well every single day of where do I start? And it's an impossible question for me to answer because it's totally different for every single one of you. All of us have a different season that we're in, a different environment, a different toxic load. Everything is totally different. So there's not a one size fits all. There's not a one pill you can take. There's so many different factors. And Ashley knows me probably in some of the most intense seasons of my life for the last 16 years. And so I wanted to bring her on here because she's an expert on all things health, training, everything. She has her own supplement line, her own workout program, Clutch Body Shop. Which is really cool because I was actually with her in her apartment as we were making labels and putting the stickers onto the packages. So I was with her from the beginning, and she's been with me through just everything. So I'm going to bring her on here, and I'm going to leave the questions going. We're not going to get to them at the very beginning, but we're going to start talking, and then we'll get to the questions as we can. But Ash, if you're there, can you do an invite, and then I'll put you on? Oh, requests. You're already ahead of the as always. There. Hi, everybody.
We're doing it.
Girl!
We're doing it. Yay.
Amazing.
We're making it happen. So it looks
wait,
like
are you doing something cool with your thing? Don't do something cool.
Well,
I don't know
wait a second. Wait a second. The only reason I'm doing something cool is because I'm in a little bit of a dark spot, and this will brighten as the sun is starting to go down. Because, I mean, listen, you're kind of a big deal now, so I don't want, there we go. Now I don't have to worry about, I don't have to blast myself out with light. There we go.
Babe.
Listen, the hillside isn't the only thing that's about to be lit. Okay, shut up.
Okay, first of all.
Let's do this.
First of all, I have to say that literally the moment I fell in love with you was when I heard you laugh. Like you have the most infectious, absolutely contagious laugh I've ever heard on the planet. And when I heard you in 24-hour fitness, when I heard your laughter just echoing, it was literally, I'm just doing like a little bit of an introduction of how I met you. I literally met you at 24-hour fitness in Hollywood.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. When I was making like $9 an hour as a trainer.
As Oliver Hudson's trainer.
As Oliver, shout out to Oliver Hudson. He likes to take credit for my entire career. He likes to still to this day say, you'd be nobody if it weren't for me. And it's true.
Shout out to the pump master himself. But anyway, enough about him. So I heard you laughing, and
Okay.
this was 15 years ago.
Yep.
So you know me 15 years ago because your nickname to me was the Princess of
Princess of
Devastation.
Darkness. Yeah,
Princess of
Princess of
Darkness.
Devastation. Princess of Devastation, but also Princess of Darkness in certain
Yeah.
moments.
I mean, they go hand in hand.
Yeah, yeah, they do. They
It's
do.
perfect. But that was my
Synergy.
nickname. Yeah. For everyone who knows me now as whatever I am now, but what I was, and I keep on saying, oh, I was depressed. I was this for 30 years. I was that. And people are like, yeah, no, you have no idea about the darkness. And I'm like, oh, let me bring you someone who's known me in the darkness.
I feel like this is an intro to like Dr. Phil, you know, when they put the movie on and it's like, I knew her before the fame, and it does a cutaway to like a behind the scenes of you like, and I'm like, yeah, it's true. I was there.
I mean, for real, between you and Aaron, you two, the full-on non-smokers, like, and hate smoking, and here I am, your best friend, me and both of my best friends, and I'm just like on the street corner smoking, in a back alley smoking, and you and Aaron are both like the most positive, just the most incredible people that I've ever known that were opposite to me. So anyway, I met you at 24 Hour Fitness. And that's where we began our friendship, our relationship. And you trained me for a while. And it was what I've always loved and appreciated about you is your outlook on life, because it was completely the opposite outlook to my life. You were the yin to my yang. You were the most positive. I was the most negative. You always had hope and joy and faith and all of these things that just created opportunities for you. And I was always like, boom, 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 no, 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 low, you know, down to the ground. And so you were a pivotal person in my life that in the darkest season that I had, I mean, I say it honestly, between you and Aaron and Arlen, I would not be alive today. 100% I would not be alive. You were with me the night before, the night of that I went to the hospital. One of my lowest points. You were with me that we went out for dinner. Like it was, you have been with me in the darkest times. So I wanted to bring you on here as just kind of like a live Q&A jam session. Because you've known me the longest, but also you're like a top health expert. And so for people who ask me and who ask you, where do I start? What do I do? And our answer is very similar of it totally is different for every single person.
Yep, it is.
Different seasons, different life. And so in this whole, I'll be done in a second because I know that you want to talk.
No, listen.
All of a sudden I have the gift of gab. It's like, tables have turned.
I cleared my day, so we could do this all day. You go ahead and sing my high praises. Maybe this is the live stream. Hold on. Let me just okay. Yeah, let's just grab that. I'm glad this is recorded because I can watch it later when I'm feeling insecure.
Like, yeah, I know.
Go get some compliments.
Believe me, I could lift you up all day with how much you've lifted me up.
The one thing I wanted to just say, you know, is that I think that like a lot of people are super inspired by you. And even though they didn't get to see you at that time, and I think, you know, especially right now during coronavirus, there's such a need for, which leads into obviously our topic, which there's such a need for people to be authentic, because it's not, I mean, and we know this as Christians, right? Like a testimony is more powerful than a victory, because it's when people know what you've been through and you have the courage to be transparent enough to tell them, like, listen, like, first of all, we're all human beings. We're all struggling through something at different seasons. Second thing is that the powerful thing is when somebody has the courage to be transparent enough to say, no, I've been through something. And that it was what encourages people the most, because, you know, it's easy to see people, this sounds super cheesy, but like on those mountaintops, and you're like, I wish I could be like them. I wish I could be like them. And the reality is you can be like them. You can have a positive attitude. And it's really the people who I think have encountered like the darkest moments and been in that pit of despair for whatever reason that typically have the most positive outlooks on life, because you don't want to waste that, you know. And the thing that I wanted to say about you before we went any further is that That's not true of everybody. Because as you know, just like I know, you can give people we all have the same opportunity, right? We all go through things, some far worse than others. But the thing was about you is that even though you had messy moments, your heart was always positioned to receive like a huge blessing, meaning like even though you were going through things, to me, the reason it was so easy to always encourage you is because I knew as soon as she gets free from all this stuff and all this hurt, your heart was always like, I want to help people and I want to make this count and I want to impact this world. And how do you do that when you're just taking pretty photos and you don't really know what your purpose is yet and how to really like activate those things inside of yourself? And I think that's just an important thing to note before we go any further, because it's not like there's people who have been through things and they've had victory over things. And we know like, you got to fight your way out of that corner. But the key is that oftentimes once people are in the fight or they've had victory, they make that thing all about them. And that's not what you've done. And it's not what I've done, which is why and that's what we both know, like joy is actually birthed from. It's the refusal to allow your life, period, to be just about you. It's like, how do I use this to affect other people? How do I, when I go through battles, how can I make sure that this doesn't get wasted? You know, you don't go through hell and then just keep that for yourself and go, I'm glad that's over. You know, and a lot of times people don't have the ability. It's that component. You want to make something count and you want to be able to go through hard things. It's the fighting, I think, is actually easy. It's in our nature physiologically to show up to the fight. It's how do you make something about others and how you're going to impact others when you're barely surviving, you know, and you were always, your heart was always turned towards the right things. You always wanted to do good. You always wanted to make your life stand and mean something, you know, and that's why you are where you are. You know, because at a certain point, you know, as we go through life, it's like, it's just not fulfilling.
Yeah.
It's just not fulfilling no matter where you are to go through life and have it be about you, you know?
Yeah. And you and I have both been in those places of whether it's money or fame or connection or whatever it is, we both have been in the situations of knowing that at the end of the day, like you say, when your head is laid to pillow, what matters? What matters? Like we both had those things, and in different seasons, you realize how little that actually means, and how lots your health means, and your openness to help someone else. Because for me, what's changed when I had kids was the joy that I feel for myself is exponential. When I see joy in my kids, it's almost like it's multiplied. And when someone does something for me, it means a lot, but it's like when they do something for my kids, I can enjoy it that much more. And that's why I created what I created with certain things, and you did as well, because you realize that our happiness is even more when you share it. So when you see that someone else, when you're giving the power to somebody else to heal, and you're giving them tools to heal, not from an, oh, I know everything standpoint, or a, I'm being paid to tell you this standpoint. Because I love how people are like, how they're dissing influencers, but they'll go and they'll take whatever their doctor tells them to take. Because doctors aren't being paid to tell you what to take.
Because if you're making money off of something, then you're not being authentic.
So anyway, that's an aside, and I'm not throwing doctors under the bus at all, but I am trying to say that, like, watch your source, listen to your source. And what's right for you won't be right for somebody else. So just like you want to get a second, third, fourth opinion from a doctor, if you are on social media and you're following an influencer, because I say influencer across the board, because I think I've covered that now, that like everyone's an influencer. If you have one follower, you're able to influence that one person. You're an influencer, whether you're being paid or not. Like, you are influential to that one person. Hold on. The thing about the comments that I want to shut off is because
Hmm.
then I don't see your face. So let me shut
Oh, we
off the
can't have
comments.
that. How we cannot have that.
I'm turning off the comments just for like the first little bit so that we can
Okay.
kind of get through some stuff there, and then I
Hmm.
can see your face and I'm not like looking at
Talking
all
to
the comments.
yourself.
Yeah, exactly. But the reason also why I wanted to talk to you about like business side of things
Hmm.
is because everything has gone so quickly in the last couple of years with
Yes.
social media blowing up
Hmm.
that I want to kind of bring some clarity
Yep.
from a place of where you and I have both been on the
Yeah.
other side of the camera, on the other side of business. You've worked in business, I've worked in business. We both kind of have different ways of seeing things, but I want to bring some clarity to people too who want to know what being an influencer is all about and the different ways of being an influencer, and everything about
Uh-oh.
health and oh, you froze, and
Yeah,
where to
so did
start.
you.
So I mean, I'm wanting to cover like a million different things because I'm so excited that I'm on here with you.
Yeah, I know, me too. Well, let's start with how this came to be, which I can kick off, right?
Yeah.
So transparently, I was on a live stream a couple of weeks ago, and I'm very outspoken about.
Everything.
Uh, hold on, but we got the first burn. I listen. I hope there's more of
No, you
those.
are.
Okay,
There is.
people
No, you
need.
are.
No,
You're
no,
no
it's
bullshit. You're
no,
very
no, it's
forthcoming. I
true.
love that about you.
It's just, and here's the thing, right? And we talked about this a little bit earlier, is you have to make a decision just in life in general. Like, forget social media. You have to make a decision in your life whether you're going to be authentic and honest or whether you're going to make people comfortable. And I think one of the ways I know for a fact, part of the success that I had at an early age was because from an early age, I wasn't afraid to tell high profile people not what time it is. It wasn't coming from an ego place. It was like, all you are as a human being to me, you just happen to shoot movies or you just happen to dribble a ball for a living. I'm here to help you. So I'm going to treat you like a human being. And that means being honest. Right. And
Yeah.
so the problem, one of the issues that we have with social media now is people want something from you. They want you to help them, but they don't want you to confront them. Okay. And so,
Yeah. Yeah.
so the thing is you have to decide, right? Which you and I obviously both have. What happened a couple of weeks ago was, guys, is I was on a live stream, and I'll explain. Let me just give a quick aside. So I've spent the most of my 20s traveling with high profile celebrities. That's how I built a platform. That's why people trust me. Like, once I was given an opportunity to actually open my mouth and say something, people realized, oh, she's actually smart. She actually knows how the body works. She's not just somebody who's, I'm a celebrity trainer and I want to build a career off of my looks, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was me training high profile people that opened that door. And from that, I created a brand. So I get hit up by brands constantly who want me to, even if it's just, we want you to give this to one of your clients, who want me to do affiliate stuff with them, who want me to do whatever with them. I personally don't do it because I own a brand.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we're out of product right now, it doesn't make sense for me. Okay, now if I really believe in something, I'll just go and promote it. But my core business, the way that I make money, is not by being an influencer. It's been by running a company.
Mm-hmm.
Which, we've talked about this. I'm like, I may have gone the wrong direction. Maybe I should have just, let me tell you, ignorance is bliss. Okay.
There's a fork in the road.
Because you've gotten to spend a lot more time helping people, whereas a lot of my time over the last 10 years, where it started with helping people, is dealing with the headaches and the infrastructure and the legal side of running a company and manufacturing supplements. Okay, but here's the thing. The cool thing to me is that you and I are on two opposite ends of the spectrum, but we're for the same thing. And so what happened a couple of weeks ago is I had somebody come on my live stream and I said, hey, just so you know, like, everybody always asks me for some reason, like, what's in my cup when I'm on live stream. So I said, this is a BCAA. This is the company that makes it. And just so you know, I'm not in any sort of partnership with them. Somebody came on and made some comment and said, Oh, thank goodness. I'm so tired of seeing Angie Fletcher's, promotions or something like that. It wasn't a very nice thing, right? And so that then opened, because we're so close, and I went into a defense, not because I need to defend you, but that's not what you're about. That's not what Arlen's about. But what was cool about it is, it's moments like that that it allows you to take the temperature and get a read of where people are at. Sometimes a hater is just a hater. And then sometimes moments like that are an opportunity, and that's what's really cool about us doing this, is because, we're in a moment where everybody is an influencer, just like you said. Most people, if they don't consider themselves an influencer, they want to be an influencer. People are at home trying to figure out how to start e-commerce, starts on social media. And so it's really cool, because you can take negativity and internalize it and get super offended. And because I know you and I know Arlen, like, listen, here you guys already know this if you follow Ange. Like, everything that she does and everything that Arlen does is to be of service to other people and to help other people. And so we both saw it as an opportunity, because you and I talk about this all the time, but like, I don't care if people ever buy a product from me. That's not why I do live stream. I actually, candidly, I hate social media. I don't want to be on social media. I literally hate it. I don't like going on live streams. But what I found is that if I don't go on a live stream, like, that's what the platform is really for. Social media is a tool to empower, it's what you said, to empower people. And if people like you and I, who actually care about people, everybody needs to make money, but inside of the fitness industry, the wellness industry, all this stuff, the sad truth, and I found this out very, very quickly, is people don't care about you guys. They care about margins, and they care about themselves. And they not only do they not care about you, but they'll do it at a cost to you, meaning they'll actually lie to you. They will put poisonous ingredients in their products to save 5 cents. They'll do any number of things because they're
that's
unethical.
Not the fitness industry, that's the food industry.
It's everything that falls under health. And so if people like you and people like me don't get on here and share as much information as we possibly can, as we've now got people who are so uneducated. Okay, not only are we've been in a health crisis for many years, because people think they're going to take a fat burner or it's going to combat the fried food and all the crap they're eating. But now people are so uneducated that even though they know not to just blindly trust people, our government and the powers that be have been able to spread a pandemic of fear. And so the point of us getting on here was, let's get on here and explain to people in this new moment that we're in, right? And it was always moving in this direction. We want to rip the veil away and show you this. Okay, this is the difference between someone like me and someone like you, and our process of how we do things, how we make money, and also educate people on. Oops, sorry guys. Also educate people on how influencer marketing actually works, how people make money, so that you can decide who you want to trust. Because that's the thing. It's not about whether they're going to listen to me and buy a program from me, or they want to do something with you. The point is, we just want you to have the information so you can decide for yourself. And that, I know that that's always been the goal for you. All of the education that you go on your social media and share, and that's what people don't realize, is like, it's a very difficult balance to, when you have a platform and there's so many people, and I think this is probably a good place for us to start. When you're a person that's on social media talking to people about more than losing 5 pounds, buy my ebook, like most, and I think we can agree on, again, I'm just going to call a spade, most female fitness experts, and in double quotations, are not experts. They haven't done jack diddly squat. They haven't done research. They're a pretty face with a pretty body and a great editing team and a great marketing team.
They're experts at angles and filters.
They're experts at
which is in its own right.
They may not even be a marketing expert, but they have a marketing team. Okay.
Yeah.
When you're a person that goes on and is authentic, like you are, and like I have been, the messages that you get to your direct message are different than your normal, regular fitness person. And some of the messages are haunting. Some of the messages keep you up at night, because it's not just crazy people being leaky. It's people who are desperate in every area of their life. And because you've been transparent with them, even if what you've been transparent about isn't the same thing they're going through, because you're so raw and because you're so open and because you're so honest, they feel connected to you and they feel like maybe this person will understand. And so I didn't realize this when I, started my brand. I didn't realize that me just taking like all the struggle and all of the underdog elements of my life and wrapping it into a message, which I didn't even think was that deep, was going to like touch people in such a deep way. And in doing that, then my social media immediately switched. The questions I got switched. People are reaching out about depression, suicidal thoughts, porn addictions, things that nobody teaches you. Like, hey, if you are transparent with people and you're deep and you share a tragedy where you lost your mom, you had to watch her go through cancer, the anger that creates in you, knowing as a health expert, this could have been prevented. So the public doesn't really know what you've even though you tell them, there's no way for people to understand fully what you've been through in your own experience and what's driving your desire to help. But also on the other side of that, when you decide to not rely on your looks and to not rely on the fact that you can take a pretty picture and get a lot of likes, and instead of actually leveraging that, you're going to actually expose yourself and make yourself completely vulnerable, knowing it can backfire, risking being rejected. Because you know what? Well, you'll never really get rejected with a perfect photo and a pretty face. As a woman in the industry, those are just the facts,
Well, you'll still get people that are haters and that are like trolls and that are saying whatever they want to say. But I know what you mean. There's a lot less confrontation in that way.
But then for somebody like you who's shared everything that you've shared, and you get people reaching out to you left and right, and they go, and this is how it happens. Like, I think this is a good place for us to start. And then I want to hear your thoughts on this. I remember the first time, like one of the first times somebody was like, hey, what's that? And it was just like, I was just wearing this hat. And I'm like, it's a hat. And they're like, yeah, but what brand? And so you tell them what brand. And then because you're a person who wants to help people and you're like, oh, that's so cool. Like, I wonder if I can just give them something, then you want to reach out to the brand and you're like, maybe if people want this hat that I'm wearing, I can hook my peeps up.
Yeah.
And so that's how it sort of begins. And then for every different reason under the sun that people are struggling with, you have different people reaching out to you. Hey, I have a need. Hey, I'm struggling with this. And when you're a person who's good natured and you want to help people and you understand that sometimes your health and even your mental health, it costs money to fix it. It didn't become a disaster because you did one thing wrong. It's been thousands of thoughts, thousands of dysfunctional actions over the course of years and years and years. And you want to make it as digestible financially and on a procedural side to not overwhelm as humanly possible. So I think a good place for us to like start with explaining to people kind of the ins and outs of influencer marketing. And I think the goal here is to educate. And so you guys walk away and you have an understanding of how this works, and hopefully it illuminates who you can trust, who you shouldn't trust. But why don't you kick it off, Ange, and kind of share your journey of how because when you and I met, this is like kind of funny, but I remember having so many conversations with you, telling you need to get on social media and you need to start talking to people because you have a story, and it is a story that so many people will connect to. And this was before you had gone through everything with your mom. It was just the pain of a divorce, drinking a bottle of wine, smoking cigarettes, and just the depression that you felt. I'm like, you don't understand how many people you will minister to just sharing that and being like, and sports, me beginning to train for a triathlon was the first step in breaking that off of my life, you know, and so it's just so cool to even be on this right now, because I was just having that thought. I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember having those conversations, being like, you need to get on and just talk to people. You will inspire so many people, and they will love you because you're being real and you're being honest with them. And when you're real and you're honest, people know.
I just hadn't seen that before. You were the first one that opened up my eyes to the possibility of that, because you're a visionary. I'm like a head down workhorse. You're much more of a visionary. And I remember, even so, that was before, like, yeah, when I was doing triathlon and doing all that stuff, but I didn't know how. I mean, Instagram wasn't really there for that yet. That was more Facebook and MySpace, and we did that. But the start of Instagram for me 7 years ago was Erin saying, hey, I have a bunch of pictures I want to show. Like, so she kind of wanted to show her close friends instead of having it be like a Facebook thing. A lot of more high profile or celebrities were kind of going to Instagram because it just felt more private and not as like open as Facebook. So I went on Instagram because of her and kind of started sharing pictures. And it was definitely like, I've always been a content creator, like all of my YouTube stuff, from as early as I can remember. All of my triathlon stuff I filmed and I edited, and I did all cool like that's what Mamouche Productions is. It's an editing company. It's my editing company, because I loved shooting and creating videos and doing like my Alcatraz video and all that. So I was creating content 10 years ago, before content creators were even a thing. So I was doing all that for no pay. I was making my money through modeling and acting. So my main income was from modeling for 25 years and from acting, from doing commercials and doing small films. So that was just, Instagram was just a hobby and an outlet for me.
Completely.
And then as the years went on, it became more of like a therapy tool for me, because I realized I love writing. And as I was going through different things, I was able to write out about my divorce and about just grieving and different things that I was dealing with that. And then as I was going through the process with my mom, it was also just a big like therapy, almost like a blog style way of me to just kind of brain dump my emotions to a picture, because I've always loved that. I've always loved the picture saying 1,000 words, but then just kind of adding in my own story, or having like the juxtaposition of this gorgeous picture with like this raw editorial underneath. You know, I love the drama of it all. So Instagram was like,
that's a Princess of Devastation remix 2.0.
Exactly. I love that. And it was the perfect platform for me to do that. And then again, as seasons changed, I still was just talking about my mom, talking about her death, talking about everything that I was dealing with grief. And then right away I got pregnant. So it kind of went into there. And then, like you said, it just was a very organic transition with sharing my life for free for 7 years, sharing everything for free, to then, as everything, even in the economy, shifted, there was less and less money that companies had being allocated to commercials. I haven't shot a commercial now in 3 years, because who watches commercials anymore? Other than if you're watching the Super Bowl. Completely. But ever since HBO and Amazon Prime, and like all of these companies took over, no one's sitting through an actual episode and sitting through watching commercials. So all of that changed. So companies had to say, oh, okay, where am I putting all of this money for advertising? Completely. And the natural progression was to people with influential numbers that they can move the needle. So it went to celebrities. And I think it, just to continue with my kind of progression, it went from everything being that way. And I think I had the engagement of you guys that are watching because of my raw honesty and just messy mess that I was able to share. And there was like a resonance there. There was a connection there that we were able to find.
Mm-hmm.
whether it was through death, divorce, or depression, all of
Mm-hmm.
those things that I talk about,
Mm-hmm.
which is a very like Kim Kardashian type vibe, you know, my
Ooh.
influencer, death, divorce, and depression.
Yeah.
Um,
I would
like
beg to
right
differ. You're
along
quite
in
different.
there. No, and so then again, so my mom died. I got pregnant. I had major issues with breastfeeding. Had like the most pain I was ever in with mastitis, and with a lot of just anxiety around breastfeeding, which was a big part of my grieving process because my mom had just passed away. And then I got pregnant again. Don't know how that happened, but so it was like back to back pregnancies, and all of a sudden, like within that time, Instagram did a shift where they started stories.
Yeah.
And stories, when stories came on, that was the first time that influencers really were able to move the needle for companies, because you were able to do a swipe up link.
Yep.
So companies were able to give you a link to share or to promote their stuff, which is genius.
Yep.
Because now, and then usher in quarantine and Corona, where people don't want to go to stores, and stores are being shut down, and businesses are being shut down. And it's literally this like perfect storm or perfect, amazing place to have people who they're able to follow who they want to follow, and they're able to trust who they want to trust. And my now quote unquote business is, I don't run a business page because I don't even have a nanny. Like Arlen's watching the kids again, because we tag team. We don't have help. This is not running a business. This is still my personal page of, I'm basically, because everyone's asking everything of what I'm doing, from my rings to my necklaces to what I'm wearing, like you said with your hat, to what I'm doing, what I'm giving my kids, what is ozone, what is this? We're still living our full-time life.
Yep.
And I'm able to kind of create content around it, and then to share tags. Because if I wasn't able to share what we do authentically, because I'm not an influencer where people send me stuff. I live in a one-room house, and this is a barn right here that I'm in. So imagine if I had just everyone sending me stuff, and like, where would I put all that stuff? I'm a minimalist, and that's part of my healing from depression, is living a simple life. But I reach out to companies. So this is like just kind of how I structure my business. If I'm using something and Arlen and I love it, we've researched it, this works for our family, I reach out to the company, because now, as most of you guys know, because if you're scrolling through your Instagram feed, all of a sudden, everyone has links. Everyone has discount codes. And it's like, that's where kind of the anxiety comes in, because if you don't get your discount code out first, the next person is going to have a discount code, and they're going to use that discount code. So it creates like this frenzy. But I'm talking about the good side of social media, where I would not be able to be on Instagram if it wasn't for the links that I have, because I get an affiliate fee, or I get an affiliate percentage if someone buys through my code, through my link. I get a back end, very small fee. But still, it helps, because I wouldn't be able to run Instagram as a hobby. I just don't have the time, being a mom of three.
Okay, so that brings up like the first note that I had made. Like, I'm like, okay, we got to get into this right here. So that was a perfect segue. Is on the other side of that, what most people don't realize, okay, is here's your other option, okay, which is the route that I took, which was, I'm going to start a brand. I'm not going to partner with companies or do licensing deals, because ultimately what I want is to be able to build a company, do everything that I want. Okay, I want to run the marketing. I want to control everything. I want the packaging that I want. And more specifically, I didn't want my message to be diluted. And this was before the days of Instagram, and before even, the stories and all of that, because like you, as you know, when there were two different kind of categories for me. It was either Ashley's badass, So we're going to make her hardcore, like brand, you know, like let's do a licensing deal and everything's hardcore because she's badass. Or it's, let's put her in a pair of booty shorts, soften her image up, you know, and make it very user friendly and digestible for women. So, which leads me to the point that you made, which is, over the course of the last 10 years, I mean, I didn't anticipate when I, just to give you guys like a quick aside, when I launched my brand, I had $150 in my bank account. I mean, I quadrupled down. I financed everything myself. The second I launched the brand, it was successful, but my career took a forever shift where now my full-time job was not helping people. My full-time job is now running a company, and not just running a company, but dealing with every single operational headache you could ever possibly imagine. And now at 38 years old, I can honestly say that if I wouldn't do anything differently, but if given a different option where I could do what you are doing. See, here's the trade. And this is what you guys, as you know, as Angie's followers, you know, it's important to understand is that you have to decide. Because you would actually make more money, okay? You would be able to build a brand that would have equity, and the ultimate plan would be to then exit, you know. But in order to do that, they're not going to get you on stories 24/7 being authentic. They're not going to get you truly thinking about them and how you can help them, because each of us as human beings only has so much bandwidth. When you're building a company, it takes complete focus. And for me, it was one of the most frustrating things. And one of the things I didn't realize up front was that I was going to have to run a company, deal with messes like all day long, and then the next day show up to shoot something for somebody I was in partnership with and try and be as inspirational as humanly possible, and then go right back to being on the phones with attorneys and lawyers and manufacturers and product defects. And that was never what I wanted. What I wanted was to create an impact, because I knew that brands were lying to people. I knew that supplement companies were lying. This industry is so dirty. The people who run it, most of them, dirty. They don't give one, you know what, about people. And that's just what it is. So in order for you to help people, and this was to kind of present that side and then to land this plane, you have to get paid. Because guess what? If Angie Fletcher isn't making any money off of these posts, and you are now forced to go create a brand or go get a 9-to-5. So is there anything wrong with monetizing the things that you're promoting? No, because your other option would be to set yourself up as an online store, for you to become a retailer. Now you're dealing with inventory management. So guys, just so you know, like, influencers don't make that much money. When you sell a product, you might make 5 or 10% of the overall product sale. If you're a retailer, you're making 30 to 50%. So how are you going to actually make more money? Are you going to make more money being an influencer? Or are you going to make more money setting yourself up as a retailer? And it's different if you're not smart, because a lot of people, they're just an image. But you and Arlen are two of the smartest people I know. So it's not that you can't do it, you could do it. But what does that mean with the time that's going to be allocated and resourced for helping people? And so when that person came on my social media and said what they said, I had to say, wait a minute. You know, let me explain something to you. She doesn't have to be doing that. But you can't hate on somebody for the fact that they're making some money off of their recommendations, because we all have to eat. We all have to make money somehow. So if you don't want her, if you're going to hate on her for trying to help you and participating in a back end sale, then what is your other option? To set yourself up as a brand or to become a retailer? And I guarantee you this, people aren't going to get you sharing your life. They're not going to get you being as authentic, because all of your time is going to be spent dealing with business operations, which is exhausting. You know, so I wanted to just ask you also, like, you know, just like nobody's even on here, like, Like, how do you balance, like, how do you balance that? You know what I mean? Because I know you, and I know you'll exhaust yourself to try and help somebody. You know?
I'm completely exhausted. Like, it is like you know how easy, it would be so much easier for me to stop all of this, delete my
Yeah.
account,
Amen.
not answer DMs at 2 o'clock in the morning when
Yeah.
I'm going pee, because I'm trying to find, like, I'm trying to steal moments so that I can help someone. Because yeah, my inbox is, if my inbox was, hey, what was that thing that you were wearing the other day? I would be able to afford a team to go in and message people back.
Exactly.
My inbox, like, I cry daily, multiple times a day, because yeah, just like you, my inbox is, I'm not able to tell anybody else this, but my husband this and this, or my child this and this, or nobody knows because I put on a happy face on social media, but I'm dying inside. And whether they're thanking me for showing up, or whether they're just needing a landing place, or a lot of times people are like, I've followed you for so many years, and my mom just died, or my dad just died, and I found myself scrolling through the past 5 years of your posts, because now they resonate with me, and I find so much hope and so much healing through your grieving process. And so for me, if I gave all of that authenticity and all of that engagement, if I didn't care, I wouldn't answer any of those messages.
No.
But I do care, and I run myself to the ground. I mean, I post at 1 o'clock in the morning of Arlen doing ozone injections into my arm, because that's the time that we have to do that.
Yeah.
I'm like spitting all over the place.
It's okay. Just keeping it real.
I care. I care deeply.
Yeah.
And
that comes at a cost.
The way that I'm able to monetize this is not by having companies send me stuff to create content for them. And a lot of people do that, and that's amazing. If you're a content creator and you're creative and you love doing that, awesome. That's not the season that I'm in. I don't have that amount of time. But what I do is if we find stuff that we like and that works for us in our season, then I reach out to the company. I ask them for a discount code. So again, just like sharing with my girlfriends, and I think why people trust me, or why people, and I'll turn the comments on after this too, just to kind of get some feedback from people. But why people trust me is because I'm just living my authentic life. Yeah, how much money I could be making if
there it is.
If
bingo.
So if I were to take on ads like I did for 20 years as a model or as an actress, no one got mad at me as a model. No one was like, oh, how dare you be modeling for that company? Like, no, I'm just the model. But now people are coming at me saying, how dare you this or how dare you that? And well, like you were saying this morning too, I'm not here to please anybody. No. Because I never will be able to, because everyone's in a different season. And I have been in different seasons just like you have. So I'm being authentic in my season, whatever that is, and sharing about it. And if it's something that I'm like, oh my goodness, this could help so-and-so,
completely,
I will ask the company for a link so that my audience or my friends get a discount. And then if I take the time to share or to educate or to create content around it, then I get an affiliate fee. Yeah, which just makes sense for your time and for your energy. Obviously,
you're making another. And guys, just so you guys know, here's the thing: it's not costing you guys.
And they can choose whoever they want to follow.
So it's free marketing. See, here's the thing where I think that as on because there's two sides to this coin, right? So pause. The reason that I get pissed off and offended with all this influencer crap that goes on is because most of the people who are doing it in the health and fitness space, they don't know jack diddly squat about your health or even their health. And they're on there positioning themselves as experts, and they're willing to promote anything and put you at risk, like all this keto dieting crap and garbage, which by the way has merit, but under supervision with somebody like you or Arland, where you're guiding people through a process. But now you've got Joey.
And during a season,
Okay.
if you have cancer, there is a season for something.
Bingo. But this
not for your average girl who's trying to lose her period or lose weight.
But the people who are paying the influencers don't care about you. The health expert who isn't really a health expert doesn't care about you. And all they care about is keto's popular. That's what I'm going to promote. Okay. So it doesn't cost. See, when someone's promoting something that's harmful to you, it costs you something. Mm-hmm. For Angi to promote something, it costs the brand something, which it should cost the brand something as a brand owner. Okay. Mm-hmm. If somebody is going to promote my merchandise, my products, and they have an audience that converts, that's worth something to me.
Of course.
People shouldn't do that for free. I should want to give them something for that. Now, on the other side of that, like I said, there's a huge difference. And this is where, and this is like one of the things that I had written down is, so how do you know who to trust? Because it all appears sort of the same, right? And here's how you know. And this is what I always tell people.
Like between influencers, you mean? Who do you know how to trust between influencers?
Bingo.
Yeah.
When people do
absolutely
affiliate stuff, this is how you know. It's not how many different products are they promoting, and if they're promoting multiple products, it means you can't trust them. That's not it.
No.
It's what are they saying to you?
Mm-hmm.
What do they stand for? And here's what I mean by that. I have watched so many experts on one side of their mouth say, you need to eat carbohydrates, balance is key. And they'll promote, it's okay to have a glass of wine. This is all about a healthy lifestyle and balance. And then the next month, they're all about keto. Well, I've got a news flash for you, honey. Wine and keto dieting, that they don't go together. And so what you have to watch for are things that get promoted that are in opposition with one another. And it's not even because of the product. What it is you're dealing with forget social media. You're dealing with a human being that stands for nothing. They don't stand for anything. So they will become whatever you guys need them to become in order for them to sell something to you or in order for you to follow them. And they will actually lead you into dysfunction because, people like to drink. So you know what I'm going to tell them? I'm going to tell them drinking is healthy. No, it's not. Drinking is not healthy. Alcohol is poison. Does that mean that I never have a drink? No, it does not. I've never had an issue with alcohol, but I'm never going to go on my social media and be like, because I do this, you should too, and it's okay. Mm-hmm. Because now you get people co-signing something that is not health. Mm-hmm. And so the way that you spot a fraud isn't by whether they're promoting something or whether they're making money off of it. It's what are they saying to you? What is their core message to you? Mm-hmm. Your core message to people has never changed. My message to people has never changed. Mm-hmm. So if I'm going to tell you that you need to detox with what you and Arlen do, cellular health, it's very important. That's where it all starts. Mm-hmm. So if you're promoting this thing over here and that thing over there, and it all ties to cellular health, that makes sense. Why mm-hmm. wouldn't you? That's what you believe in. That's what you're going to authentically be using in your home. Now, if you were telling me cellular health on one hand, and then the next day you're promoting something that I know darn well actually mm-hmm. damages your cells, well, now we have a problem, don't we? And this is what I wanted to make a point of, because guys, you have to be so careful. Because what happens is these influencers or these experts, something becomes popular and they see dollar signs. And that's why their message changes. And also, you want to know the quickest way to become popular? Tell people what they want to hear. Mm-hmm. When you tell people what they want to hear, they will love you. And they're gonna be like, you understand me. Oh, so it's okay if I drink and lose weight? For my entire career, since I was 24 years old. I don't care who you are. You want to work with me? You're cutting alcohol for 3 weeks. at the beginning of us working together. I can't reset your metabolism if you're putting poison in your body, bruh. I don't care if you're an A-list celebrity. I don't have an interest in you paying me or me being your friend and toting around with you. And you and Arlen have always been the exact same way. So I think that's like point number one. Stop paying attention to the what and start paying more attention to the who. Who, the person. What are they saying? What do they stand for? Can you, because if I went onto your social media right now, not knowing you, I could be like, she is trying to, she wants to be she wants to be your friend. She wants you to know that you're understood and that she has been through it. And because she's been through it, she has tools to help you, to pull you out of it. You're trying to pull people out. I'm trying to pull people out. And as Christians, that's what we're actually ordered to do. So at a certain point, tools to help someone, you know what products they need. Why wouldn't you tell them? Why? Because our time here is so short, especially now with, you know, coronavirus. I think so many people leading up to this moment thought, I have so much time to get my health in order. I have so much time to get my mind in order. I have so much time to deal with my depression and all of these very undisciplined areas of my life, right? Most people in America, we're just so undisciplined. Our bodies are a mess. Our minds are a mess. Our thought life is a mess. Our relationships are a mess. And everyone thought, I have time because we're spoiled, we're entitled, and we're all about instant gratification. And you, as long as I've watched you be on social media, you would make so much more money if you were promoting a fat burner or you were promoting a beauty product. You start talking to people about red lights and all this, putting themselves in an ice bath. That's not telling people what they want to hear. Some of that stuff is not inexpensive stuff. And that's how
I always start. Go ahead.
And that's how you're able to tell, because a lot of times, guys, you know, and I said, when Ancha and I had a call earlier, and this is just one of my biggest pet peeves, is like, nobody finds themselves fat and depressed because they made one bad decision. Take fat off the table, just take depression. Depression happens one thought at a time. Thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of thoughts. So when you have an influencer that comes on and tells you all you need is this one thing, they're fake and they're a fraud. If someone like you comes on and says, I've been there, this is something that helps me, but also one look at your social media and there's all this stuff. To me, you know, because I know you, you know, I've been to your house. You know, I remember the first time I met Arlen, he was talking to me about some products. You know, back in the day, it was isogenics. We both know you need a lot of stuff in order to maintain your health. I mean, dozens and dozens of supplements are actually what you need. Like, I take dozens of things a day because of what's happened with our food supply. So does that make me inauthentic? If I was to actually go on social media and be like, you really want to know? Here it is. People would be like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed.
I literally I was going to do a supplement story on what I take, and my entire shelf, I'm like, oh, I've done this back and forth if I should do it or if I don't, because I look like a freak. I mean, I literally have hundreds of supplements. And again, for different parts of my cycle, for different parts of the month, for different seasons that I'm in. Am I fasting? Am I doing this? Am I in a workout season? I have hundreds. And I'm like, well, again, I get caught up in this thing of what are people going to say? What are people going to think? And then I have a phone call with you where I'm just like, no, just
rip the Band-Aid off.
Just do you and just say like what I'm going to say, because at the end of the day, I sleep because I'm authentic and I'm real, and I know what I'm saying. I know that my social media is someplace that if my sister gets on or if my best friend gets on and is like, hey, that thing that you were talking about today, do you really believe in that? And I'm like, do you know me?
Yeah,
like,
have you met me?
Of course I believe in it. Here, I'll send you one. Or like, they know that all of this is the exact same person. Because I've always said that if I go to a grocery store, if my whole situation on here is so filtered to crap that someone doesn't recognize me at the grocery store, then I'm doing something wrong.
Completely.
Like, I want to be as authentic and as transparent as possible in a world where that just doesn't exist.
Completely.
And so what I do a lot, which is exactly what you've done, because you were one of the key proponents in changing, in coming in to my hole of depression and not only lifting me out, but actually building that ladder of tools so that we could both get out together. I, just like you saying, you will not work with a client unless they go sober for 3 weeks.
Yep.
I won't suggest anything to someone if they're coming to me. I used to take clients. I don't now because I'm just in a season with these little kids, but I will again. I will not take on a client, and Arlen doesn't take on a client until they've taken stuff away. So I'm not giving you a product to buy.
Nope.
I'm not, telling you to do this and this and this and this for thousands of dollars. I will say, go into your fridge and empty out your fridge. Clean out your fridge, take out all the crap condiments, take everything out, throw it away. Go into your pantry and clean out your pantry. If you haven't eaten it in a month, throw it away. And this is not like a wasting money. It's when people are like, oh, but I don't want to waste it. Okay, you're either going to waste it in the trash or you're going to waste it in your body. Your body will become the trash can.
It's really good.
So you
that
choose. Yeah.
You need that on a shirt.
2.0.
You get a wasted body.
But it's true. It's like how I grew up with the whole starving kids in Africa, better finish what's on your plate. I don't ever tell my kids to finish what's on their plate. It's my responsibility as the adult to put something on their plate. If it's too much for them, kids know. Kids know when they're not hungry. I don't need to force feed a child to eat.
No.
But so back to what I always share is where I was 15 years ago, where you knew me as, Ash. You knew me in my height of buying Las Palmas with Paul.
Yeah.
My $1 million mansion, that was my 30-year family home. We're going to build this family. You knew me then. And then you knew me when I couldn't afford gas in my car because I was going through a separation, and I was going to Home Depot buying baseboards for Aaron and Ollie and painting baseboards in their house so Aaron could give me cash so I could put that cash in my car.
Yeah.
Or so I could put gas in my car.
Yeah.
So when I am speaking to 150,000 people, that is my platform right now, there's no way that 150,000 people are in the same season.
No, that's exactly,
I'm authentic in my season of where I'm at, where if I turned the camera, I could show you like all of the supplements that I take, but it's also thousands of dollars where I didn't have the thousands of dollars to spend on supplements. So what I tell people, if they want to come and where to start, I say, go to your fridge, clean out your fridge. Go to your pantry, clean out your pantry. Go to your closet, because our closet and our fridge hold so much emotion and hold so much attachment.
It does.
So if you go to your closet, Marie Kondo out that closet, and it'll affect you emotionally. And start detoxing you. Because the more minimal you can go materialistically 100%. And simplify your life, the easier health will be able to have a
1,000%.
place in your body. And it's all connected.
Completely.
So get rid of that stuff. And then guess what? Before you buy an expensive set of weights, before you get an app for $30 a month to work out, before you get a gym membership, which you can't anyway now, but before you do all those things, go for a walk.
Yeah.
Go for a walk, take your shoes off, go find a patch of grass and go walk in the grass. Have sunshine on your face. Soak in that free vitamin D that creates all of these hormone balances in your body. Like all of this stuff is what I say to do first. It costs you nothing. A cold shower costs you nothing. Hydration, like all of these things is you want to get rid of all of this stuff first before you start building in. And it's all the tools that I have that I've learned from experience, because again, I run my page as I would if I'm talking to my girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not giving you scientific papers and medical journals to read. I'm giving you my own personal experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that for me is worth more. If I really want to know how to do something, or like case in point with Beauty Counter, the reason why I'm a consultant with Beauty Counter is because
Mm-hmm.
I talked to Erin, and she, as my best friend, was like, oh my God, you have to try this peel. So I was like, boom,
Uh-huh.
done. Tried the peel. Now I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm in love with it. I want to share this with other people.
Totally.
And I run my page like that. What I'm
Yep.
doing and what works for me, it won't resonate with 150,000 people, but that just happens to be my platform. I didn't pay for anybody to
Completely.
follow me on Instagram.
Yep.
Because you can definitely tell when there's paid followers. I haven't spent a dime on any of that stuff. First of all, I don't know how to do it. But even if I did, I literally wouldn't be able to sleep at night because of how inauthentic I feel.
I know.
And you would call me up and be like, Ange, so all of a sudden you're at 500,000 followers. How did that happen? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know. But anyway, less is more. And like you said, where do you start with a client? You tell them to not do something instead of do this and this and this, because it creates discipline. It creates mindfulness. It creates space. And when you have a blank canvas, then you can start creating, and then you can start adding things in that are in your season. And what's awesome about Instagram with highlights or a website, if it's not in your season now, but you remember, oh my gosh, Ashley talked about this a year ago. What was that? Oh, I can go to her website and I can go check it out.
Completely.
Or I can afford this now. So, I'm going to get this now.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty and the power of social media.
It is.
Like I said.
You brought up something really interesting because, with regard to minimalism and, we're in such a moment with, listen, our nation has been, anxiety is such a catchphrase now. Everybody's anxious.
Yeah.
Everyone's got anxiety. And by the way, I don't say that lightly, because you're in front of you is a person who once was on a run during a certain season of my life. And I had to sit down in the middle of West Hollywood because I thought I was legit having a heart attack. I wasn't having a heart attack. I was having a panic attack. Mm-hmm. Anxiety is definitely real. Mm-hmm. Depression is definitely real. Your body is physiologically responding to your thoughts, and your thoughts are becoming an emotion, and your body is responding, right? But what you brought something up that I think is really cool, because you knew me in my big baller P. Diddy days, where I'm like, I'm gonna go get the house in the hills, and I'm gonna just fill my life with all these things, because that's what you do, and over the course of probably the last 5 years, I slowly minimalize. But even when that was my lifestyle, I was always drawn to minimalism and less is more stuff, even with the clutch packaging.
Yeah.
But here's what's interesting. You brought something up that is so critical, which is your environments. And most often, right, people are it's like this. The issue isn't that you're fat and you need a new diet. You're not fat because of food. You're fat because of the feelings that cause you to overeat. Mm. So me giving you a diet isn't going to do you any good, because if it was just a diet, newsflash, there is this thing called the internet. And I don't care how confused people say they are, there's enough information. You know what you're supposed to be eating by now. So the issue isn't you don't know what to eat. It's why aren't you doing it?
Yeah. Okay.
So with regard to minimalism, it's interesting, because I was just talking to a client the other day on the phone. And when Corona first started, I had an online training client, and I said to her, show me your closet. I know by the facial response.
Yeah.
I already know. And it's interesting, because what I have found, I don't know if this is true for you, but I have found a direct correlation between people who are struggling, who are trapped in their house, even prior to leaving your house, tired from work. You don't see things the same way as you do when you're trapped inside of it, but it's still costing you something.
Mhm.
Every single time you open a drawer, you open the refrigerator, you open your closet, and it is disorganized, and you've got so much crap crammed in there, you don't even know what you've got in it at this point.
Yep.
Even though you don't think it's a big deal, let me tell you, it creates a chemical response.
Yeah.
It's a small stressor, and it's the small stressors that happen repeatedly day over day that lead to the emotions, that lead to the anxiety. You want to know what pisses me off? When I can't find matching socks. If I've got a sock I want to wear, I'm like, where's the mate? Nothing frustrates me more. You're starting your day off that way. It's like a
Don't
simple
ever
thing, but
don't ever have kids, Ash. Do
where?
not have kids.
Well, that's why I don't have kids. I'm like, got but it's those small things that all of a sudden you're like, now I'm late.
Yeah.
And those things seem inconsequential, but inside of people's homes are these areas of their life where it's like they've got stuff everywhere.
Yep.
And they're wondering, why can't I sleep? Why don't I have peace? And yes, of course, there's big issues, but there's those big issues more often than not are not things that are inside of your control. You can't control them. It's politics. You're not the president of the United States. You're not the governor. You're not running these companies. You're not a food manufacturer. What can you control?
Yep. And
You
there's
can control
so much.
You can control so much. And so for me, like when somebody comes to me and asks me like, I need something that's going to help me lose weight immediately, or I want a quick fix. It's the same. You know, the simplest thing to do would be to put somebody on some deprivation diet, build in some social media component to it and have them snap, look, I just lost 15 pounds. But I know, just as you know, no, you have to start from ground freaking zero. Show me your closet.
Yeah.
Because that closet is where you go at least 2 times a day.
Yeah.
2 times a day, you're confronted with not being able to find something. And by the way, that usually people's closets or their cars are an indicator of how they're honoring their life.
Yep.
That's your stuff.
Yeah.
Those are the representations of all of your hard work, and look at how you're treating those things.
Yeah.
You know, and so and in this moment of corona, I just love that's where, I mean, I know this. And by the way, funny thing is, you know, I remember many years ago going out to your guys' house before you and Arlen were married. And I mean, I got like really convicted. And the reason is because Arlen is somebody that could have been living, he could live wherever he wanted. He did, right? It was like a moment in my life where I thought, you know, we all like to think that we're keeping it real. I'm just being authentic. This is me. Like, I don't care what other people think. And your guys' house is like so dope. It's so cool. It's so majestic and beautiful. But the simplicity and the minimalism of it, I was like, wow, he is comfortable living here with this little, so few possessions. And I was like, I want to be able to live this way. Like, how much more uncomplicated would my life be if I could just live simply? Mm-hmm. And I remember that moment so clearly, and thinking like, it actually confronted me because in that moment I was like, wow. And then I flashed to like where I was living at the time, the house I was living in, and why I wanted to live there. Mm-hmm. And it was too much house for me. It was really about me wanting people to think mm-hmm. that I was important. And it was a complete symbol of my success. Yeah. I've never cared about living in a big place. I've never cared about driving a luxury car. I've never cared about any of that crap. Mm-hmm. You know, and as I've gotten older, but that moment was very powerful for me, because even looking at his closet, it was before even the downstairs was built out. I was like, I mean, I couldn't even fit just my jackets in there, and thinking, this is such a powerful human being. Mm-hmm. Like, not because he could live like that, but like that was his choice. And like, how free would you have to be inside of yourself and inside of your own spirit for that to be your choice, to not feel like you need to hold on to things And you need to surround yourself with stuff. And I'm not talking about the mega mansion. I'm just talking like, wow, you can live with 10 t-shirts.
Or five t-shirts in Arlen's case. I mean, there's so many different ways of grieving, right? Like Arlen and I both have dealt with so much loss in our life, and we've sat in it. And you know, there's more than two type of people, but these two types of people kind of come to mind. One is you experience a loss. Yeah. Someone dies, and you go to the, oh my God, life is short. Let's go. Let's do this thing that I didn't want to do before, that I was scared of. You know, let's get rid of this. Let's sell our house and go buy an RV. Like, let's live this. Life is so short. Yeah. And then there's another type of grief where, oh my God, my mom died. I'm going to take all of her stuff that was in her house and bring it into my house.
Yeah. You got crap everywhere. People come over and they don't know where to put their eyes. They're like, okay.
I mean, you've seen Hoarders. Like, I've watched enough episodes of Hoarders where you're literally like, oh my God. And you have such a heart for these people, because every single person can see that if there's a hoarder, if there's a material whole thing, it's not about the material thing. It's about what's inside.
No, it's not.
And it's about not having been able to deal with the heartache or with the loss or with all of these things. There's, like you said, there's not a magic pill. There's not a magic this. There's not a 1 week to this. There's none of that. There's hard freaking work. Mm-hmm. And there's dealing with your crap, whether it's through therapy or whether it's through friends or whatever it is. But like, that's what I want to share with people on my page too, and what you've always been that for me. You know, it's hilarious. Yeah. You are the first person that literally got me to speak. Do you remember?
When?
Do you remember on Hollywood, across from 24-Hour Fitness, when I had just separated from Paul, and you took me out for lunch or whatever, we went out for like, lunch or dinner or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you were like, what do you want to eat? And I was like, oh, it doesn't matter. And you were like, oh yeah. And there's an interesting point to this. You were like, no, what do you want to eat? Mm-hmm. It was like some Mexican place, or Pollo Loco or something like that. Mm-hmm. And you were like, no, what? Yeah. There's a Florida's. Yeah. No. And you were like, no, what do you want to eat? Mm-hmm. And I was like, it doesn't matter. He said, I'm not going to order for you. Do you want chicken or steak? And it was like this crazy bawling. Yeah. Because I was in a marriage where I didn't choose. Yeah. And not to say that person was oppressive or abusive or anything at all, but they were running the ship. And they were very happy to run the ship, and I was very happy to just lie back and just be on that place. Completely. And so I was just like, oh, it doesn't matter. I'll just do whatever. And it was the first time that you were like, speak and tell me what you want. And it was part of the therapy for me of like knowing what I want. And it was again, your heart, which I have too, of empowering people.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, so I always say, do your own research. It does sound like a broken record, but I don't ever want you to do something because I am doing it.
Yes, that's it.
For me,
1000%.
We're completely different people. You like steak, I like chicken. Are they both nutritious? Sure, on some point, whatever. We'll get into that. It's an analogy.
You say tomato, I say tomato.
But the point is like, there's an emotional thing that is full on connected with the physical being. Heart, 100%. Mind, spirit, soul, everything is separation. Connected. It's a multi-therapeutic approach to wellness, just like there's a multi-therapeutic approach to sickness. Disease doesn't just happen. Before you find a tumor, before it even comes up on something as breast cancer, it's been there for 7 years. Completely. There's like underlying things that start at a cellular level, that start with a thought. Our thoughts, like you said, our communications, they alter our hormones. There's a chemical thing, a reaction that happens. Like, everything is connected. So you can't deal with the physical unless you've dealt with the emotional.
100%.
with speaking of like going minimal and loss, oh wow, I
Mhm.
went on a whole thing there.
No,
But the reason
it all
why
connects.
Ireland is able to be so minimal, and the reason why I went from
Mhm.
a $2 million mansion in the
Mhm.
Hollywood Hills to like this
Mhm.
tiny little studio, one
Mhm.
room house in Topanga, is because I was the person that dealt with loss over and over and over and over and over again. And it was like, boom,
Mhm.
hitting me in the face, boom, hitting me in the
Yep.
face.
Yep.
And I didn't have a choice. Like
Yep.
when you don't have the finances, you don't have a choice. So then you start looking for,
Completely.
okay, what can I get rid of? Or I started selling my clothes again so I could have money for gas. And
Totally.
like, what can I get rid of? And not
Yep.
knowing that going that minimal actually helped my depression and my anxiety because it got rid of the
100%.
material things. So it allowed more time for training. It allowed more
100%.
time with people for human connection. And I wasn't just constantly like bogged down with this
Totally.
stuff.
Totally. I mean, so many people. Stop it. Brooklyn, stop. I can control people. I can't control my animals. Okay, I'll admit it. Okay, I'm being authentic. Okay, people listen to me. My own animals don't. Come here. No, you stop that. Come here. You stop. You just be sweet. Stop
Ash,
it.
so that turned to have.
This is what I can't control. Okay, this is what I cannot control. This little thing.
Is this Brooklyn?
Stop it. This is Brooklyn. Yeah, she's 6 pounds of pure fury. Stop it, Brooklyn. No, just chill. You know, it's funny too because there's just so many people right now that like obviously like small businesses are getting hit so hard. People are just getting hit so hard, and I know you brought up a good point. I mean, I've been, you know, the things that I've had to go through. I mean, if I had known back then what I know now. We developed it's one of the reasons I'll share this. It's just us, right? Here's a secret. One of the reasons I like
Fine,
to
the
have people
comments are off. No one's
no,
here.
no one's here except for us. One of the reasons I like to have people cut alcohol out for 3 weeks is, and I never tell people this in a text or an email. I like to sit across from them when I deliver this news, is because I'm trying to read their reaction.
Yeah.
It's about what your response is more than anything else. I want to see how attached you are to it.
Exactly.
Because people are walking around as alcoholics completely undiagnosed because there's a stigma in our society that being an addict means you're out of control. It means you're blackout drunk on the ground. It's about the attachment to it, you know?
Yeah.
And one of the great things that is birthed out of a sad thing, but one of the great things that I've seen with coronavirus is, and I hope that this is something that people just like hold and they hold on to, is when it first started and we were all locked down, there was this very specific period of time where I felt like in the spirit that the atmosphere had shifted, even though we had something very evil going on that was designed to create fear. It was like everyone just stopped for a second and went, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Because the things that were important were no longer important. It was like all of a sudden, it was like God brought everything back into order.
Yeah.
And it was because we were so shaken as humanity. Everybody was like, oh my gosh, I've been wasting so much time. There's no meaning in any of this crap that's driving my life. The consumerism, the new iPhone, I need it. And it was like people had this like complete and utter clarity.
Yeah.
And that really excited me because I was like, oh my gosh, now if they can just hold on to that, their lives can be changed forever.
Yeah.
You know, you never have to go back. And, you know, that's one of the great things that can come from these moments where it's like you're going along life and you don't realize that like I didn't even realize at that moment where I was like, I want to be a person that's capable. Like, why do I need to live in a 4,000 square foot house as one person? And if I'm being honest, I was terrified every night. I'd had somebody try and break into my house.
I remember,
that's a lot of entry points. I was like, I was not sleeping, you know? people are having these moments, and I don't know about you, but I've been encouraging everybody that I talk to. I'm like, if you have stuff that you can get rid of, if you need to sell your house and start renting, do it. Whatever you need to do to free yourself, to get out from under these financial constraints, do it. I was in church many years ago, and there was a guest speaker, and he came and he said something that it was in the same period of time that always stuck with me. He said, the issue with money isn't that money's bad, which we all know. And it's not that the people are bad. The issue that we have with it as human beings is because we have more, we then attach ourselves to more. And so then money should buy you freedom. That should always be the goal, to be free. But what we do is, I'm making more money, so now I'm going to buy more stuff. I'm going to take on more overhead. I did the exact same thing.
Me too.
You do it when you're running, not personally, but on a business side. It's like, okay, and that was it was a risk, and it was a huge mistake, because the point of money is to free you. You should live as minimally as possible. So then the more you have, the less stress you have. The key is to not take on more, and I'm watching like a lot of people go through like a lot of financial hardship right now. And they have options to downsize, and it's like their ego and their pride. I mean, this is not the case for everybody. Not everybody is in a position. Some people are just losing their shirts, but for a lot of people, it's what am I going to be if I'm not surrounded by all this stuff?
Yeah.
And what you're going to be is free. And that also, like, it's also a part of our conversation today, which is like, I know this about you, just the same. I don't want you to buy something from me. If there's something that I have to offer you that can help you, then I want to help you. But the key here is to not allow yourself to be baited because of the panic that we're in. If you are a person that's dealing with fear or anxiety or depression, there is not a product for that. You did not get yourself into that condition that way because of one thing. But if you're willing to do the simple things that don't cost you anything, evaluating your life, what you're attached to, what you've built your value in, costs you nothing. And so I just love what you said, how you and Arlen lead people through, because you've probably found what I found, which is when you give somebody something simple, but there's steps to it. It's really funny because I'm like, this would take you like an hour, and they won't do it because they actually want it to be more complicated, and they want it to be this one secret thing. And they're like, yeah, but I'll spend all this money if you'll just give me that one secret thing. And it's like, no. Like, people who have joy and happiness, that is a choice. It is truly a choice. And in order to be capable of making that choice, it takes going through so many different things, making so many different decisions, and being willing to discipline yourself like a child, like we do with children. I said, no, I'm not going to think that thought. I'm not going to allow my emotion. I'm not going to allow that thought to get into my emotions. I'm going to arrest that thought. Get out of my head. Get out of my mind. Get out. And people want it to just be this.
Creating
yeah, but there's got to just be a supplement for this. Like, what can I do? Do I need a cold plunge, Ange? Like, well, maybe that red light thing. And it's like, it's almost heartbreaking, because it's like,
yeah,
if you only knew, if people only knew what you had been through, I came to a point where I was like, I've got so many women who 10 years ago, I could fix people's bodies so quickly. I can't do that as easily now because there's been all this fraud that's happened, and people have destroyed their metabolisms. And all this keto crap and intermittent fasting crap has spawned so many eating disorders. People have such unhealthy relationships with food that I've come to places where I'm like, I'm just going to go ahead and step into the uncomfortable with you really quickly. Like, I'm a Christian, and this is a spiritual thing. What you're dealing with is a spiritual attack. For you to think that the key here is to stop eating or to restrict yourself, that actually goes against your physiological design. So I've now given you all the information. It's not working. So here's your other option. Do you want to get on we can get on a Zoom. You can get on a Zoom with me and my pastor, and I can have him pray over you. And I found that, like, I don't know about you, but that has been, and people have said yes to that. And I'm like, the old things aren't working anymore because people have been reaching for things as a simple solution. And because they're not willing to sit through a process, they're not looking for a process. They're looking for a product. I need to coin that. That's good. Not looking for a process, they're looking for a product. They're putting their health in complete and utter jeopardy. And I'm coming in, whereas I used to just be able to, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do this for the next 3 weeks. And I'm sitting here going, I have to literally, like, you actually need healing.
We do.
Not you're stupid. Like, you actually need to be healed because you've been so desperate to be alleviated from something that took years for you to, it took you years to get this way. You want such instant healing and alleviation, and you want this to change so quickly that you have become suckered by any person on social media that's offered you up something that appeared to be the solution. And
but it's not even social media, because that has been going on for 2 or 3 years. The social media swipe up influencer thing. What's been going on for the last decade has been environmental. Yeah. So everything that we've been sold from every type of media, and not even sold, we don't have a choice. We don't have a choice what cell phone tower goes up. But what we are sold on from every single angle is faster, bigger, better, quicker. Like, all of the things
completely
that we've taken out the process of everything. Just do this, boom. 5G, awesome, bigger, faster, bigger bandwidth, faster, everything, this and this and this. Where that every single thing that is bigger and faster, and all these things, which I love, again, because you and I are talking here, and we're able to talk to the people from around the world that are watching this, which is so powerful. But again, like you said, the flip of the coin is, what is that doing to our health?
Yeah.
And to step away, and people are like, I get asked all the time, because I have the Juve for the red light therapy, which we've given to you as well. But people are like, I can't afford the Juve, the red light therapy. Do you have like that biohack? Do you have like a cheaper version of that? And I'm like, it's called the sun. Go outside, take your shirt off, and get the sun. There's
treat yourself.
Actual biohackers are like, it's like this whole big, technical term. And of course, you go to the, Arlo and I go to these biohacking conferences, and of course you have, we have a $35,000 bed. It's a biohacking bed. Or you could sleep on the ground and have the same effect. It's called grounding. You could turn off your Wi-Fi. But we're in a season where we're able to afford that because of the choices that we've made. We don't have a mortgage. We don't have all these things. We don't have a billion toys for our kids. We're choosing what we're investing in. But the actual true meaning of biohacking is less. It's getting rid of, it's getting back to nature. It's turning off your Wi-Fi and going for a walk. But the biohacking part of it is just the scientific evidence of what going for a walk does.
Completely.
Compared to sitting down.
Completely. It's really returning us. It's returning us to our original design. Right? Like, this is how you were always meant to be. Completely.
Yeah.
What do you think is the number one thing right now that people are deceived about? Like, what do you think right now is the main, like, if there was just one main thing that people are struggling with, where it's like, if they just knew this, if they just understood this one thing, in this era where we're just being like fed so much crap, what is that for you? And I know,
for me, and I'm speaking to myself because I get caught up in this daily. It's less is more. And I know it's a cliche key, saying, but it really is like the key. For me is less is more. There's always going to be more. You challenged me on this a couple nights ago where you're like, Ange, when was the last time you You didn't work. When was the last time you didn't shoot
Mm-hmm.
content? When was the last time you
Mm-hmm.
actually gave yourself a break? And I'm caught up in the helping people and the excitement and the passion of it, because again, I love sharing and I love
Yeah,
creating, but I don't take enough time to recharge,
completely.
and I don't take enough time to do less, to shut
Yeah,
everything off and do less, because that's truly where healing comes from,
yeah,
is from connecting,
yeah.
not to your iPhone, but connecting to God,
Mm-hmm.
connecting to your creator, connecting
Mm-hmm.
to nature, connecting
Mm-hmm.
to another human being. Like, that's where health is, because the less you have, the more connected you are, if that makes sense.
Completely. Absolutely.
Um, and I'm not here to preach a whole minimalist lifestyle, but I will say from my experience,
It's
it
life
has
changing.
completely changed me,
Yeah.
changed my depression, it's changed my anxiety, it's changed my competitiveness, it's changed everything about me, is needing
Yep.
less so I can be more. There's another t-shirt.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there we go.
Need
Well, wait a
the
second. These
need
won't be affiliate
less.
links. This will be you just buy this from me.
Just straight up buy it from me.
Yeah, straight up buy it from me. Buyitfromme.com. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
What would you say? I want to turn on the comments for a little bit, because we've
oh
already been
yeah, turn
doing
them
this
on while
for
we go.
almost 2 hours.
Yeah, this is basically just us like jamming.
I know.
I think for me, I think for me this is like a season where I'm finding myself more and more in a gentle way trying to tell people it's no one else's fault.
Mm, taking responsibility.
The condition of your life, the condition of your body, the condition of your mind are a result of your choices, not your childhood, not what your boss did. And now, certainly, okay, now I say this with a quick aside. I don't say this from a place of non-compassion.
I know.
I am a person that has been through things that have been incredibly unfair.
Mm-hmm.
Just wild, okay? However, when I look back, there were all of these small moments where God was trying to warn me, Ashley, stop sign, red light. And so there were things that I could have done if I was paying attention harder. And that really comes from a place of having to learn how to value yourself more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't teach somebody how to become better if they don't value themselves, because then what's the point in fighting for it?
Mm-hmm.
But the key is like, don't then complain.
Mm-hmm.
Stop complaining. There are so many people that, I mean, and one of the things that has always inspired me, like as I've gone through different things, is like, I know people who are in my personal circle that have gone through the most heinous, horrendous things, and you would never, ever know. And the reason that you would never know is, instead of them complaining about it, and instead of them re-rehearsing that thing and that narrative, they were busy building and clawing
Mm-hmm.
their way out of that pit of despair. Because you can get out of that. You can get out of the body that you're trapped inside of. It's not your trainer's fault. It's not the social media expert whose ebook you bought. You decided to buy it. Let's talk about why you chose her or why you
Mm-hmm.
chose him. Oh, let me answer it for you. Because of the way that they look. So you took the one thing that you can't buy, which is your health, and you put it in the hands of a person off of a photo. Would you put your child in the hands of a straight? Oh, they look trustworthy. I'll hand them my child. But you handed them your health. Your life, everything about it is a result of your decisions and your choices. And, you know, that is like such a difficult thing to confront. And that it pisses people off also. But it is the only, like, in this moment where people are so distracted by politics and this and we're this person and that person. Okay, forget about the White House. What about your house?
Mm-hmm.
What's the condition of your house? Oh, you don't have a family? Okay, what's the if I was to be, if all of your thoughts were to be projected onto a screen for a solid day, what would I see?
How about for an hour?
Well, so according to science, we have, each human being, we have over 70,000 thoughts per day. Of those, 98.6, I believe, are negative. So if you want to know why your life, why your health, why your relationships, why you are anxious, why, I mean, any fill in the blank is where it is. It's your thinking. It's the way that
and
you
your
think.
thoughts are in your control.
Your thoughts. I'm like, stop paying attention and being distracted by things that you can't control. And if you took all of that emotion, stop talking about things that you can't control. Stop engaging people in political conversations. You're not a politician.
Stop complaining.
Stop. Just take all of that and direct it towards how am I going to fix myself, my health, my life. If people spent even 10% of the time doing something proactive to get better, mm-hmm. as they do consuming crap on social media and the news and arguing, oh, can you believe it? Can you believe it? I'm like, the condition of your life, I have a newsflash, like you wouldn't care about those things because you would have such joy and inner peace and happiness that no matter what happens outside of you, you're like, I have peace and I can protect my family and I can instill peace in my family and those around me. And that's what matters to me, is to maximize mm-hmm. my life, mm-hmm. you know? And so that's been like the main thing is like, I just feel like this is a season of like new accountability and people have that option, because when fear is a really tricky emotion and it's a really cool emotion.
Yeah.
Because it either takes people out or it shakes them to their core. It's almost like the veil drops.
Yeah.
And you have an opportunity to speak straight to them and then be like, they can see clearly.
Yeah,
because
like
they're
laser
fearful.
focus.
They're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Or whatever you're going to say is going to piss them off and it's going to be a how dare you. Yeah. And I've had a lot of that as well. Like when Corona first hit, and I was telling people like, do not be afraid. This is a lie. Not the virus is a lie, but what they're doing with the numbers, it is a lie. This is an evil agenda, all of that. And I've never been more skewered in my life on social media, mm-hmm. Which was kind of funny because it's like, people were like, you're not a doctor. Yes, I'm not a doctor. However, I am a health expert. So do you want to listen to a doctor who's in bed with the person with the vaccine, or would you like to listen to a third party who for years has been telling you the truth and hasn't taken a paycheck and doesn't do endorsement deals and I'm not bought and paid for? Who mm-hmm. do you want to trust? You know, mm-hmm. and so,
but it's in people's hands. Like, people love to complain, but they are in control. We're all in control of who we listen to, even our own thoughts. I have a negative thought, or like my go-to is always negative. I'm hardwired negative.
Yep, it's default setting.
So I can either listen to that negative thought, yep. or I can stop that thought and create a positive thought. Now, my whole life, I thought, well, that's faking it then. That's shallow because mm-hmm. I'm making up that thought.
Yeah.
No, my brain is making up both thoughts. It's yep. what is my habitual pattern to listen to one so it feels more authentic?
Completely.
Or do I create another one and then listen to that thought? Because your brain and your mind are two different things. So right. I'm listening to that one thought. It's mm-hmm. either a fearful one, like you said, you know, there's two different people, like what you do with fear or what you do with grief yep. or what you do with these things. But you are in control.
Completely.
Like who you listen to, whether it's social Completely. Media, whether it's the TV, whether it's your mother, whether it's your grandmother, you are in control of what you listen to and what you allow to affect your life.
Yeah.
From your own thoughts to somebody else's.
Completely.
You are in control.
1000%. And these moments are like a reckoning, like, because I think most people were teetering, but because we've been so distracted, and that's, you know, that's where like us getting on here and kind of talking through the influencer stuff, it's like, Like, I don't want people to come out of this. Well, no, it's not like,
We
oh,
talked about that 2 hours ago.
well, but it all plays a role, right? It's like,
Yeah, I
because
agree.
what happens is with any sort of trauma, as you know, and you know, this is like, this is what I equate it to. Like every time I get in my car in LA, if I'm on a freeway, usually sometimes you have multiple like near death accidents like in a single week. And every time that happens, there's a moment after where you're like, whatever you were stressed out about or whatever you were dealing with up to that moment, you're like, thank you, God. And none of that matters. You're just so happy to be alive. And you're like so happy because when you realize what the collision could have been, you're like, the fact that I can walk, that could have changed the trajectory of my whole life. And then what happens? A few hours passes, or a day passes, and you forget that. You have to be intentional in holding on, because those moments of clarity those are not a default.
Such a blessing.
Those moments of clarity are God-given.
Mm-hmm.
It's like being trapped underwater when you're in heavy surf and there's a set coming in and you're able to take one breath, look around, and then you're shoved back down. And it's like, I just want people so badly. Like, I know people have been woken up during this moment. I know people have had revelation about themselves, about this, and all this crap that's going on. I believe that if people were to hold on to those things, you would see a massive awakening across the entire globe. Everything would change. But what's happening is people are like, did you feel that? No, because I feel different. I feel like no one's talking like that. It's like, let me just go right back to Netflix and buying stuff because I'm scared again. No, you have to hold. Those moments are actually freaking sacred. And they don't come that often because there's something that has to happen. There's extenuating circumstances that have to line up just perfectly, where you need to feel out of control and scared. And like there's nowhere for you to run. There isn't a TV show for that. There isn't a buy button for that. And people were coming to those crossroads and they were going, even though the weight of it was heavy, there was clarity. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And like, I just want people to like, whatever that was for you, you have to like grab a hold of that and hold on for dear life. Because if you allow that one moment to begin to direct your next steps, it will change everything about your life. Like literally everything. Mm-hmm. And you've had those moments. That's why you are where you are. That's how you were able to get out of the dark pit. Myself as well. Like all you need, like they say with like creative and business, all you need is one great idea. All you need is one clear moment where you can see yourself and your choices clearly. And then you have to hang on to that. And it can change everything, and,
it just brings you down to ground zero. And then that's where you can build on. And what's interesting is when you think you're at ground zero, and then God takes you deeper.
Oh,
you think you're like, oh, this is the darkest, this is the like, most sad, this is the darkest, like, most devastated I've ever been.
Yeah. Like, I've done just everything you've asked. You don't care about me, Lord. Why? Yeah.
But just again, seasons. It's all a part of, if you believe that you were created for a purpose, and if you believe that there's a plan for your life, you'll stop questioning what's happening to you.
Yeah.
And you'll start questioning, why is this happening? And what can I create from, from how and why this is happening? Not why is this happening to me? Why is this happening for me and through me?
Yeah.
As my friend Elle would say, what's happening through me?
Yeah.
Because we're 100%. All influences, we're all vessels, we're all created with a purpose. Completely. And we can all help somebody else.
So preach it, Sister Ange.
Girl, I know that Arlen's going to bust in here with the kids in a moment, but do you want to turn on comments for a second?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's turn on the comments and do some.
Because we can do more of this, obviously, at some of the point.
But I'm just at least a couple comments, and then we'll. I mean, listen, Arlen, we're busy, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Arlen is a saint.
No, he really is. He's an absolute.
What would either of us do without Arlen Fletcher?
I know. This has been great. Erica, have you been with us for 2 hours? Because if you have, you deserve a medal.
Yeah, a Medal of Honor. Who's been listening to all this jibber jabber?
For 2 hours. I love you both. You both have said so much.
Awesome.
I appreciate it. This is most encouraging.
Oh, minimalism on wardrobe. Please talk more on this.
Okay, I will, because I think it's really interesting for women. I've never watched Marie Kondo. I haven't read the book. I don't know what she does. I just know it's like a whole thing. But this is how it happened for me. First, it happened, and as I'm talking, you can maybe see some of the other comments, Ash.
Yeah,
but this is how it happened for me. I always had a massive closet. I was a model since I was 16 years old. So I love fashion. I love clothes. You know, I loved how I felt about it. There's obviously different roads that you can go down of why, but I had a lot of clothes. The first layer of me being able to get rid of my clothes actually came out of desperation. So when I got separated, I moved from a huge house into a tiny apartment. And I just kept on not being able to afford things. So I had to downsize.
It was minimalism by requirement, not choice, which is different.
Oh, totally. No, it was out of desperation. I started selling my clothes so that I could pay for rent. Completely. So it was out of desperation that I started cleaning out my closet, and which is such a huge blessing, because out of that desperation came like answers, you know? So I realized that was actually a blessing, that I was able to sell it, get money. And then I had less and less to worry about. And then another situation was I was going through my storage unit, and you remember this as well, because at one point in my life, I couldn't afford a storage unit. And so I had to get rid of stuff. Yep. But it was happening during the fires in California. I want to say this was 2008. Yeah. I was getting rid of even more stuff, and I was listening to people that were losing their homes, that were evacuating, and like hundreds and hundreds of homes just burnt to the ground, where you literally are like, boom, you get a phone call, you have to be evacuated. And we've been evacuated many times as well. So I had a choice. I was able to get rid of clothes and do like my giveaway pile, my Goodwill pile, my trash pile. And I was able to get rid of that by choice. And it was comforting for me knowing that I have a choice when other people didn't have a choice.
Completely.
So that was another layer. And then the third and final, maybe not final, nothing's ever final until I'm dead, but another huge
that was dark
layer for me. Dark? That we're all gonna die?
No, you said nothing's ever final. Not final, because nothing's ever final until I'm dead. I'm like, there's a Princess of Devastation.
Well, then
right
it's
there.
not final. Then it's actually the beginning of my life. But we all go there.
Yeah, well, a whole other live stream. Okay.
Yeah,
the
it's a final for all of you guys, because I will be dead and I won't be here to do this live stream. But the third huge kind of foundational pillar that I have for minimalism was the day after my mom died. So she died on a Friday morning. We did all the hospital stuff and did all of that. And then the next morning, Saturday morning, we went into her home, because she was living in my sister's, they have a condo, and she was living down there to help my sister with her kids. Yeah. And so Arlen and I and my older brother went in there, and we were only there, this was in Toronto, so we were only there for a week after. So we knew that I really wanted to help my sister. She was pregnant with her fourth baby, and I really wanted to help her clean out my mom's stuff so that wasn't all on her. So like I said, my mom died on the Friday, and on the Saturday, we went in with 3 different color trash bags. And we literally went in to her bathroom and like just saw everything that wasn't needed anymore and put it into the trash. And whatever was able to be shared or given away, we put into a different bag. And we did the same thing with her closet. And yes, this was out of not desperation. This was a choice that we wanted to do this so that it wasn't all on my sister. But it was so impactful to me that on the Friday, all of these material possessions meant everything to my mom. Not everything, but like it meant a lot to my mom. Because you have emotional attachment along with value and along with all these things to your material possessions. Otherwise, we would all be naked running around in the woods. But we went into her closet and said, this in one bag, this in one bag, and this in one
Mm-hmm.
bag. And it was so impactful to me because I was like, what meant something to her so much on the Friday
Mm-hmm.
means nothing on
Nothing.
the Saturday. And I went back,
It's
back to my
powerful.
place and did another layer of cleansing,
Mm-hmm.
another layer of getting rid of.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think that's where spring cleaning comes in as well, with like the changing of the leaves and then raking up the
Mm-hmm.
leaves. It's like, it's this constant.
Yeah.
Spring cleaning should be spring, summer, fall, and winter cleaning. Like there should always be
Completely.
this detoxing and this getting
Completely.
rid of. The more that you
Yep.
get, it's like dry brushing. The more you get rid of the dead,
That's right.
the more new growth can grow.
100%.
So especially for postpartum,
Yeah.
don't save your jeans. Dear Lord, don't save your jeans that you think you're going to get back into
Yeah.
after you've created life in this body and your body is completely transformed.
Totally.
It's like an absolute slap in the face to think that this Wonder Woman body is going to fit back into these old jeans. Like, do yourself a favor. Instead of saying, oh, I don't want to waste money and buy new jeans, do yourself a favor and buy yourself a new pair of jeans.
Totally. Treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
That's where the hashtag comes from.
Yeah. Treat yourself and buy yourself a new pair of jeans, because you will save your mental health more than you think you're saving, because you don't want to spend another $100 on a pair of pants. So anyway,
100%.
Getting rid of stuff. I don't even know what the question was, but I think it was talking more about minimalism. Or about cleaning out your closet. Is there's attachments there, like we said at the beginning of this, if you've been on with us for 2 hours, there's attachments that create physiological chemical experiences in your body. Attachments to food and attachments to clothes, and of course it goes from there too. But like, go into your bathroom and get rid of 90% of the lotions that are just old and are taking up space.
Well, you know what, it's like, it's super powerful what you're saying, because in the spiritual realm, there's actually a spirit of poverty.
Yeah.
And what happens is that, sometimes I shouldn't say sometimes, I've worked with clients who are now very, very wealthy. They grew up very, very poor. Food was used as a currency of love.
Yeah.
Growing up, they didn't have money, but they had food. And so what happens is you become patterned, okay, to reach for that food. And even with material possessions, it's like, you would think that there's two different sides of it. A poverty spirit can mean the person is like petrified to even spend a penny, or it can make you want to hold on to every possession you have, because at some point in your life, you weren't able to afford that, or there's some void somewhere, and you don't realize that you collecting 100 different lotions or all this stuff is you actually going, you don't realize it, but from deep within you, there's something in you that believes at some point in time, I'm going to lose everything. So I need to store all this up.
Just in case.
At some point, I'm going to need it. And what happens is when you make the choice to begin to release that, it will, in your spirit and in your soul, it also releases you from that oppression and that lie that you are going to lose things, and you need to prepare for something horrible to happen, because that's what you're doing, walking around. Like, it's really interesting, because my mom, my parents are so cute, you know them. My mom will go, when they come to visit me, I'm 38, they'll still go to Costco and get me like all this stuff. I'm like, Mom, I don't have room for 50 rolls of toilet paper in my home, right?
But you should, in case there's a second wave of corona.
Well, that's true. But it's interesting, because like, if somebody gives me something, I'll like keep it, because I feel bad getting rid of, I'm like, I don't want to give this away. And what I found is, like, I'll go through my house now, like every Fridays or Saturdays, and I'll clean and I'll throw away, because you just begin to overlook things, and you're like, I haven't used this since like 1996. Why am I holding on to this hairbrush or this old straightening iron? And subconsciously, you're like, I'm going to need that. Okay, but if I haven't used it, so why do I think I'm going to need it? That's an assumption that I'm not going to have the money to buy it when I need it. And so there's a big, and that is actually a core belief. And so when people go through their homes, it can actually be so powerful, because if you go through and you're like, but why don't I want to get rid of this? Why am I afraid? Like, because I can just buy another one, even if you don't have the money today, right? You should be believing that in 2 months, my life is not going to stay in this condition. If I'm under some sort of poverty or financial constraint, you need to be like believing that that is going to be lifted off of your life. And you need to be engaged that way. Hey, I can let go of this because I will be getting another one if ever I need it, as opposed to like, better hold on to this. Money's tight, because all of that creates a support system around something that you don't want to. Reminds me of like the children of Israel, once they crossed the Red Sea and they got stuck in the tents on their way to the promised land. They were supposed to be there for a week, 10 days, and they stayed there for 40 freaking years. Because they're like, I better just get comfortable here. This is all it's going to be. Because they got comfortable. They sat down in it. And when I watch people hold on to crap in their house, and I've been guilty of this, I've gone through seasons where I have just lost everything. And I was making so much money. And you're like, I shouldn't get rid of this because I might be able to go and sell it somewhere. So I'll just keep it here. And you're creating the thing you're trying to break out of in your home. You're creating the environment for, you're sitting down in it. The spiritual realm, you're also drawing that line in the sand. It's like you making a statement like, I'm not going to stay here. I can afford to let this go. I don't need all this stuff. And we weren't designed, somebody in one of their comments said, we weren't designed, like by design, we weren't designed to be living with all this stuff. And they're absolutely true, because when you think about the way that our brain is designed, we're not supposed to everything in nature has a pattern and is organized. Even though it looks random, there's organization and there's rhythm to everything. So everything is synced. When you fill your house with all this crap that's random, it actually disrupts your brain. That's why we get stressed out. That's why it's very disruptive to our very design, and
a great way to do this with kids too is to teach them young. What we do is anytime that my kids get a gift, or anytime that we bring something into the house, they choose one thing to either give away or to throw away because it's broken.
That's so awesome.
But it gives them the power, and it gives them the choice to have patterns of giving and patterns of letting go, instead of just having all this stuff all the time, because as parents, we're the ones that have emotional attachments to them, and we're the ones that create those emotional attachments in our children.
Completely.
So having like that habitual pattern of being able to have something come in and let it go, and come in and let it go.
Totally.
Mama Fletch just said, what if your spouse disagrees?
Oh.
And I'm laughing only because she's my sister-in-law. I'm laughing, but it's very, very true. This all sounds easy. This is like you and me on a live stream being like, oh, this is what I did, and this and this. It all sounds easy. It's actually extremely difficult. Extremely. But I made a t-shirt that says we can do hard things. You can buy it on my website.
You can get it right now.
It's extremely difficult, but Ashley and I are all about doing difficult things, not sugarcoating stuff, not making it comfortable and easy. Do the hard thing. Do the hard thing. And if your husband won't let you throw anything away,
divorce.
That was a joke.
That was a joke. Somebody's gonna. I can already see the direct messages that are gonna.
I know.
Come in.
Doing the hard thing means communication.
Yeah.
It means going to therapy over it. Yeah. It means opening up. Why doesn't your husband want to get rid of it? And really get to the root of why does he not want to get rid of stuff? It's not your responsibility to get rid of his stuff. It's his responsibility. So be in communication. And if you can't be because you don't have time, make time. Make that a priority. create a situation where it's not Netflix and chill, and it's not all of this. Like,
Completely.
we live, again, we could be talking about this for another 5 hours, but we live in this culture of do, more, work, that we've lost touch with creating space and creating times with our partner to create harmony in our homes.
Completely.
To be on the same page with decisions, and to be on the same page with emotional issues and like cycles and seasons and all this stuff. And it's freaking hard. It's extremely hard, but it's doable.
Don't you think that it's like super, like you have to have and not like from a cheesy side, like a strong enough why can bear anyhow. But if you're married to a reasonable person, then you should be having check-ins with them every now and again anyways. Like, are we moving in the same direction? What sort of life do we want to create together? Everything is about unity, right? Yeah. So I've never been married, but I can say honestly, my parents have been married for over 50 years. And what I've watched is when you step into these moments and there's like, hey, listen, this is important to me, and there's resistance on the other side. Sometimes even that conversation, that was the whole point of you even having the conversation, because what you're doing is in that conversation, you're learning something about your spouse. Maybe they have something, maybe they grew up and they have always felt like I have a deep rooted fear that at some point I'm going to lose everything. Those moments can be so powerful.
Yeah. And I won't be able to provide for you as a husband, as a father. Like, there's so many issues that come up around this material thing.
Yeah, how cool. You think you're going in to organize a closet and you guys end up uncovering something that's like deep and that is buried, and then you guys get to address that together, and that gets removed out of your marriage. And now you're like, let's do a regroup on how we want to live moving forward, because you never want to do things and you never want there to be division anywhere in your life where you're working with someone. You always want to fight for unity. And if somebody knows why something's important to you and you make a good case for it, this is how it is going to benefit both of us. Why wouldn't somebody want to do something that's in support of a simpler life, a less expensive life, less stress, less anxiety? And if there's resistance there, it's like that can be a really powerful.
It won't happen in one night. You won't go from experience, from being married for over 20 years, accumulatively. Yeah, maybe something like that. You won't go, because marriage, everything's layered up in bricks, right? Mm-hmm. Like there's stuff you can't just tear down a brick wall. You're not going to go into the closet with your husband and talk about why he doesn't want to get rid of stuff, and then have just this deep, meaningful why, and he's, actually crying and you're consoling him, and then you have sex after. Like, that's probably not going to happen. But what will happen is it will be just like the process of the brick wall, taking down those bricks one by one will create communication, and will create intimacy, and will create harmony in your life. Completely. And again, it's not going to happen in a day, a week, or even months sometimes. It's going to be a process that you can continue when you are willing to fight for your marriage, and you're willing to fight for your health. It's a continual fight. It's not just a one day, one decision. It's decision upon decision. It's brick upon brick, whether you're building it up or tearing it down. It's a constant journey and a constant process.
Completely.
Someone had mentioned the hardest thing for me is quitting cigarettes. I smoked for a lot of years, and I say this a lot, that it's extremely, extremely, extremely difficult. One reason being because it's still socially acceptable. So you're not looked upon like a freak if you're smoking. It's still kind of cool a little bit. But the way that I was able, Ashley's like, it is not cool at all.
Trey cool.
But it kind of is, in like a Parisian, like having your latte and smoking your cigarette.
Like you want to cool.
You want a cancer stick? No, I like romanticize it and dramatize stuff. But the only way I was able to quit was doing something harder than quitting. Quitting smoking was insanely hard. I had to change my car. I had to change my social circle. I had to give up major things in my life. I couldn't drink anymore. because drinking and smoking went hand in hand for me. So that's when I quit drinking, even just a glass of wine. I enjoy a glass of wine. I used to, but even now, and I haven't smoked for years and years, even now, I cannot have a glass of wine without craving a cigarette. So it's very, very hard. But the thing that I did that was harder than quitting was training for triathlon and putting my body through that amount of like pain and stress and detoxing and all that stuff. That was harder than quitting. So it's like
totally, that's great advice.
Yeah, does it make sense?
No, it's good. No, it makes complete sense to me, because when I have clients that smoke and they tell me that they smoke, I don't start hassling them about it. What I do is, like, session one, my style of training people is like, it's tough on your cardiovascular system.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is it's just like a hangover, right? Like, if you're hungover and you get to sit at home all day and just chill and drink, electrolytes, no big deal. But if you had to go out and, like, play in a basketball game for 2 hours, you're going to be sitting there for 2 hours going, I am never drinking again, because you're feeling in your body. Okay. See, the reason you don't want to quit is not because it's so addictive. It's because there isn't a big enough why yet.
Yeah.
When you are hacking up a lung,
yeah,
and you feel horrible and you can barely breathe, that's when you're confronted with what you're doing to your own body, and you're like, this is bad.
Yeah.
And it disrupts it. See, what happens is your brain actually has a positive attachment, because smoking is social.
Yeah.
And so it represents something fun. I smoke when I drink, I'm around people. So when your brain is reaching for a cigarette, even though cigarettes are addictive, right? It's also the emotional attachment of what it represents. When you went in to train for that triathlon, well, now for the first time, you actually have a negative attachment to the smoking, because telling somebody you should smoke, it's bad for you. Okay, great. But you haven't had a bad experience with it yet. When you are going into training, you're hacking up a lung, you can barely breathe, and there's mucus coming out. Now your brain is like, oh, this might be bad. And then when you do that again and again and again, well, now your brain is telling you something different. It has a different anchor point. And so if you do that alongside, like, avoiding those social situations just for the time being, where your brain is like, uh-oh, we have a problem. And it's not going, uh-oh, we have a problem. Ooh, this is fun. I'm with my friends hanging out. You're able to rewire. That's why you can have a glass of wine and want a cigarette, and you still don't pick it up, because your brain is like, no, this is way worse than it is fun.
Yeah. And even because for me, smoking, it was definitely in the social circles and at the parties, but then it turned into me smoking alone by myself. And you know
the
that.
lady in the window, just like,
I was that person.
I
put Oliver down to bed sooner so that I could go out. And what smoking did is it fed my victimness, and it fed my depression, because it allowed me to be in this dark, dramatic place. And then it allowed me to feel gross about myself, because cigarettes they make you feel gross. So it was like, it validated my depression and validated my victimhood. And the reason why it was so hard for me to quit is because that had become my identity. My depression had become my identity. And I didn't know who I would be if I wasn't depressed.
Totally.
And if people didn't know me as depressed, I would actually have to take responsibility for myself. But being a victim and being depressed and having all of those things, that multifunctional, multi-thing that makes you, or that puts you in that place, allows you to not have responsibility.
Completely.
So it's a lot of work to supplement. It's a lot of work to work out. It's a lot of work to move your body, because it's a lot easier just to sit on a couch and smoke a cigarette.
Sure is.
But through desperation, when life or death is at stake, when you realize how short life is and how you actually want to live, and not just live, but you want to thrive, and you want to have adventure, and you want to create, like, there's definitely a step-by-step thing to do, because you can't just go from couch and cigarettes to, being the person that you want to be. But again, that's what we were talking about this whole time. It's making those small decisions, and you have a choice. So for me, it was like, I either have a choice to smoke this cigarette or I have a choice to ride my bike around the block.
Yep.
And the more I chose riding my bike, the less I chose the cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
The more I chose to, the more I chose something that was good for me in a pattern and in a lifestyle that would be the foundation of who I actually wanted to be step by step, the less I chose that cigarette.
Yep. No, it makes perfect sense. There's been research done on, it's funny because my own father is one of these people. He's like 100% full-blooded German, and he was a smoker and quit cold turkey. Never returned to it.
Yeah, and some people do, for sure.
The way that he did it, though, it is, and this is like the research, like when people can just, there are certain people and sometimes it's the person, sometimes it's a circumstance where they've never been able to do it before, but they just quit. They can just stop doing something that is a default setting, and the one thing that's present is that there's a big enough why, but they decide and there's no other option. Mm-hmm. So he told me when he quit smoking, it was because he walked into a hotel room. It was early in the morning and he was smoking in the other room. He walked into where my crib was and he saw a cloud of smoke and he was like, oh my gosh, never again. And I said, but Dad, how did you just quit? And he's that guy. He'll just do something. He came back from Vietnam, seeing combat. He was back at work within 5 days. I'm like, how, Dad? Because even like Vietnam, it wrecked so many people. It didn't wreck him. And I'm like, how? He's like this case study. And he said, because I decided. Mm-hmm. I didn't give myself another option. I literally did not give myself another option. And it's so simple, but when you study the brain, when our brain makes a decision, not a decision and like, I hope this goes well, but like, there isn't another option for me. Your entire body chemically begins to respond in support of that decision.
Exactly.
And so and I think that like we have to be gentle with people, but there's also these moments, right? Where it's like, if you only knew the power that you actually hold inside of your own mind, and if anybody would just come up alongside you, smack you on the back of the head and go, stop being a sissy about this. Do you know that you can do anything inside of here? Like anything can be broken. You can break any bad habit, any addiction, everything. It's just that so many of us have been told otherwise, and that we need to transition out of things. Sometimes you need to feel the weight of the control that thing has over you and be broken down on the ground because you want it that bad. So you get disturbed enough that you're that reliant upon a stick that can give you cancer. It needs to be hard, because if it's not hard to quit, you'll return back to it. So sometimes you need to be gentle, and sometimes it really pisses me off because I'm like, we need to stop handling adults with kid gloves and telling them, oh, we can transition out of something. No, it needs to be difficult, because otherwise, if it's not difficult to quit, you'll be like, I can start again and then just quit again. But we can literally do anything. And we've been so convinced that we need medication and we need this and we need that. But if we only grew up knowing, if somebody just taught us, if the majority of our education was, let me explain to you how your brain works and the things that you can do. You get yourself in trouble, you find yourself dysfunctional. Do you understand the power that you hold? You don't have to be an influencer. You don't have to be an athlete. You don't have, just you. Like, every person that's on here right now, whatever that thing is that's gripping you, when you make that decision and you just honor it no matter what comes. That was the thing. My dad's like, I didn't even consider that I could get sick from just quitting cold turkey, but I just didn't care. It's like, this is what it's going to be, and that's it. I am done. And, so often we have these opportunities, and it's birthed out of those things that you learn what you're capable of. Most people, it makes me so sad because you don't even know what's locked inside of you. You don't even know how strong you are because you've been trying to baby step stuff when what you really need to do is rip that Band-Aid off. So you understand that you can literally change your life in an instant if you want to. Now, sure, you have to be able to maintain that. Does that mean you're never going to want a cigarette again? No. Does that mean, but that's where discipline comes in. That's where you learn.
Exactly.
No,
exactly. That's where discipline comes in. And we're not taught that enough, where it's like, it's going to be hard. Yeah, it's going to be hard.
Mm-hmm.
So stay disciplined. Don't look for motivation. Don't look for the next quick fix. Like, do the thing because it's hard, but you can do it. And you can stay motivated. Don't wait for motivation to quit. Don't wait for like the next, next program or the next whatever step to follow. It's like you take responsibility and do it. It's going to be hard, but do it and do it again and do it again and do it again. And then it becomes a habit. You won't enjoy being comfortable anymore because you know that there's no growth in that. And you have this short, tiny window of time that you're in your prime for yourself to experience life, but also for you to share and allow other people to have their best life. And that's such a short blip on the radar screen that you are going to want to get up and stay disciplined and do the thing so that you can be a lighthouse and help somebody else do the thing as well.
That's right. We have such a short opportunity, and sometimes life feels like it's just so long, but it's like, don't you want to know what's inside of you? Don't you want to know why? Because we all have a purpose. Like, don't you want to leave this earth knowing that you went out in like that, for me going through hard things, and I know you're the same way. It's like, I've just always been like, you know what? The worst thing that could happen is I die. I am not dead. So I want to go out in a blaze of glory when I leave this earth. I don't want to be on my deathbed going, I was so scared, or I was so fearful of getting uncomfortable. I was more concerned about me being comfortable here that I didn't even get to see what the whole point was in me being here. Mm-hmm. And that's it. Our time here, guys, it's so precious. Every hour of every day, it's precious. You never know what's going to happen next. You don't know how much time you have. Every second counts in your life. It matters. Mm-hmm. That's the things that I've gone through in the last 10 years. Like when COVID happened, it made so much sense to me, Ange, because I was like, there were so many things that were required of me when everything happened, that what had nothing to do with my career. It had to do with the state of affairs of the world, my community, the people that rely upon me. And I'm like, if I hadn't gone through each one of these things, I wouldn't even be positioned to be able to be of service. And it's like all that pain, all that suffering, all of that suddenly was worth it. I was like, if I had to go through all of that to learn all of these lessons about health and mindset and my spirit and get my whole being in order, so when war broke out, I could actually stand in front of people and be like, this is going to be okay. I promise you this is going to, and actually be of service. Nothing we ever go through is a waste. And every hard thing that you're confronted with, it's like the only reason that we're able to be controlled, the only reason food companies we're able to be lied to, the only reason influencers are even able to lie to people is because you don't realize how powerful you are.
Yeah.
You don't realize you don't need them. You don't need me.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you my own little experience. The only thing that I ever tell people is like the things that I say that help people. I'm like, let me tell you how I was in this place in my life and I got to this place. And when I share that, then that helps somebody. But you have the same ability. You want to change your life, get yourself into a really bad situation, get yourself into a really dark you want to know how to break yourself out of depression, get depressed and start fighting. You don't need all the answers. It's already inside of you. Because we're not supposed to be walking around depressed. We're not supposed to be walking around diabetic. We're not supposed to be walking around disease-ridden and anxious and all of that. This is not how we're supposed to be living physiologically. Your body wants to be healthy. Your body wants to live disease-free. All you have to do is give it a reason. Your body's like, are we gonna fight or not? Your brain's like, nope, she's Netflix. She's in front of Netflix again. She doesn't want to fight. So your body's like, okay, we'll just sink into this. It's so cool when crap happens, when the world is a mess, because it's out of these places that you learn, you can see what's inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
You never get to know that when you're comfortable. You never get to know that when your marriage is perfect, your health is perfect, your career is perfect. That's why you have the platform that you have. That's why the things that you tell people actually hit them and minister to them and like reach in deep places to them. Me telling people how many push-ups to do doesn't change their life. It really doesn't matter. What you need to move your body, period. How many push-ups you need to do, does it really matter? No. It would only matter if you're training somebody and their body needs to look a specific way. But to be healthy, you know that you need to move. You know that what you need to be eating. You know what you need to be thinking about yourself and others. It's an opportunity, you know, and it's just how boring both of our lives would be
if we both were comfortable.
If things had gone the way that you had planned, the way that I had planned, I mean, I would have been, I sometimes think like, oh my gosh, I would have been such a boring person. Just so.
Yeah. Yeah. Boring and not helpful. When you've gone through something, you can help somebody else out. When you've had to build a ladder for yourself, you know how to build that ladder and you can jump in that hole with someone and help them climb out. Like you have the tools, and once you have the tools for yourself, you can give those tools away and then they have the tools. And, you know, coming full circle, that's why I'm an influencer.
And coming full circle, that's why you should follow us.
All of our merchandise
wait,
is on our respective websites.
Let me do another take. You can buy my ebook for $19.99 now.
Listen, if you want to be in shape,
yeah, listen,
like me.
Hold on, are we flexing? Okay, here, hold on, let me see. Hold on, here.
Meanwhile, I'm like stressed out because this live has gone on for too long and I have no idea where my husband and my kids are. But the tables will turn because Arlen's doing a live tomorrow. He's actually doing a live about the brain.
Oh my gosh, that's an awesome follow-up to this.
Brain health. Yeah. Because as everyone knows, I'm the emotional side of the coin and the experiential side of the coin. Not giving you any science back in. I mean, I have it all, but I'm not sharing it. But Arlen's doing a live tomorrow. I want to say I'll do a thing on when it is.
Oh, that's awesome.
But sharing, just about that and about brain patterns and about most of the stuff that we were talking about today.
That's amazing.
He's going to be talking about rewiring the brain, about nutrition, about, you know, the brain gut axis, about all of that stuff. So that is amazing. Yeah, it's going to be really cool. But I don't even know. I mean, we covered so many things. I am going to record this somehow. I don't even know how, but I'm going to
just save it to your phone. Just save it to your phone. And
I can't save it, babe. I can't save it when it's two of us. I can't save it. You can only save it when it's one of you.
So can you post it?
So I'm going to post this to my IGTV. I can save it to my IGTV, and then I'll record my IGTV, and then I'll put that onto my YouTube.
Screen record.
Yeah. So I'll do that because this obviously is a lot of information. And I am so grateful to you. And honestly, like sometimes I just cry because I look at your face and I just know like everything that we've been through. Yeah. And I see, it's like looking at your kid's face when you see like, I look at Oliver and I see him as, you know, this little baby. And I look at you and I've been through so much with you and I know what you've been through, and just being able to have someone like that in like you in my corner, I just appreciate you.
I appreciate
so
you too,
much.
Babe. Appreciate you too. It's so freeing, right? When you have somebody that just knows you and it's
and believes in you more than you believe in yourself. You've literally believed in me for for 15 years more, way more than I've ever believed in myself. And
Oh, I've had people like that in my, you've been one of those people. I was just texting my best friend yesterday and sending a message just like that. We all need that. It's the most
I didn't get that
powerful
message.
thing.
Yesterday you sent that to me?
Well, it wasn't to you. It was to Chrissy.
I thought you mentioned your best friend.
But I probably should have. But then, like, here's the one I'm gonna send, and here's all the other people I'm gonna send this to. You know, but it's one of those things where you're like, you know, it's the most powerful thing we can give to one another. You know, like just believing in one another and believing in one another, even when, not when people are at their high moments, but when they're in their low moments, because it's the most. Especially when you're a person that gives that to people, like when I've hit my low points, like we need that. Like you need someone they're holding a mirror up and they're like, you can't see it, but I promise you, this is going to be okay. Like you can get through this. And also that's the person that will tell you like, no, this is bad. You know, like this is bad, you know? But that's why us doing stuff like this is, you know, it's important is, you know, any person, we all need to be giving that to one another. We need to stop arguing about crap that we can't control.
Yeah.
Because that's how you change things. You change things by loving people and believing in them and coming alongside of them when they're at their low points. You know, and
it doesn't mean that you have to be aligned politically. It doesn't mean that you have to be aligned and believe in the exact same thing. Like you shared at the beginning of this live, like you and I have two different approaches to a lot of different things. Completely. But there's this heart, this core heart that I don't care who you vote for. I really don't, because there's more to you than that. And we've been so indoctrinated to have that be at the center and at the core. Yeah. Well, no, love is still at the center of my core, and love is still at the center of your core. And we can control. You can put in your vote, absolutely. By all means, please vote. I can't because I'm Canadian. So please vote for me. But you don't have to align. Like this whole Corona thing has been like the great divider. Well. And it's like everyone is just, you're fighting about the wrong things. And there's been a lot of coming together, but a lot of divisiveness. And what I love about you is I don't believe exactly what you believe. You don't believe exactly what I believe or share, you know, a lot of things, but we do share enough common things, and we have enough history that I can sing your song back to you when you forget the words, and you can come alongside me and you can hold my hand and walk with me when I can't walk by myself, and not fight about the other crap, but actually like build each other up with what really matters and what's in our control. And our health is still in our own control. That's right. Mental and physical. Anyway, I think I need to go throw a pizza on for the kids. Oh, well, I feel like I should pay for this. I feel like I've had therapy. I'm like, oh, I hope this helps somebody. I mean, it helps us. Is anybody literally on here? I mean, it feels funny. That's why I didn't announce this, because I was like, I know. I didn't announce this because I just wanted it to be like, you and I've had a couple of FaceTime discussions over the last couple of weeks, and I'm like, I know how much this is helping me, and I know that it's very, very relevant to a lot of people right now. So I just wanted to like jam with you on here. And we didn't end up really even talking about what we were going to talk about, but I had a sneaky suspicion. Anyways, I'm like, well, I think we covered enough. I think we covered enough. And Shauna, you're more than welcome to hang with us anytime. Yeah. We can hang out in your barn. You have a shed. I have a barn. How am I going to get a shed? I need to put a shed on my porch. There's this whole shed culture. No, you're like the original shed culture. I am girl. The original shed. You had a thing. What was that thing called? A bin? No. Shipping container. A shipping container. Yeah, that's like the coolest thing ever. Yeah, I'm gonna have to come out there and check that shed out, because I haven't seen that shed since you guys brought it on the property, and I think you were insulating it. We'll have to do a shed. We'll have to do a shed like a little peek, but it's pretty cute. What is that? Black paint behind you? What's that background? It's chalkboard paint. Ooh, Trey chic. I'll leave a little message there. Okay. All right. So. Well, you should probably go alleviate. Yeah, I should probably go. The Saints. But
All right, I love you.
I love you so much, and I'll record this. And thank you all for joining us.
Yes, thank you
I don't
for
even know how
joining
to
this
end
rant
this.
today. Okay. Maybe I feel like we should sing God Bless America. It's like,
Yeah, I know something like Akuna Matata. I don't even know.
2468, who do we appreciate? Like, okay, well, I guess I'll just talk to you later. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll have to figure out how we end the call.
Yeah, we'll write out a plan for our next one.
Okay,
But I
that
love you. I
sounds awesome.
appreciate you.
I love you. I appreciate
Thank you.
you. All right, talk to you later. Bye.